Hi, I'm McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we have top 5 dating tips after your breakup. So it's usually a little bit of a tough time after your breakup. If you've been out of the dating game for a long time, 2 or 3 years, it could be a little scary. You could have friends and family telling you things about the dating game that scare you even more. Don't let that creep into your mind, that all these different things. Take a step back and watch this video. The first 10 minutes, I'm going to go over the dating tips, and then we'll get into bad date stories, unpacked and shared. Before we go into that, if you have a story you want to share, whether that's a bad date or a good date or a breakup story, please go to writemac.com, which I'll put the banner right below so you can take a look at that right now. Bam. And send it in. Please share. The bad dates that we're going to talk about today, this is going to be fun. Okay. A lot of times with breakups, people are in the blues. They're, looking for information. They're looking for a path. I want people to share their bad dates, and I'll tell you why, because let's just be honest. Doesn't it feel better realizing that we've all had a bad date or two? Realizing that this is kind of funny. Don't take yourself so seriously, right? Don't take it so personal when things went wrong on your date or someone doesn't like you. Okay. And that's a good starting point to get back at, because to be honest, post breakup, right? Post breakup, you're doing a lot of thinking about rejection. If you didn't get rejected in the breakup, you still feel rejected once you break up, because things don't work out. This is someone you love. This is someone you care about. And a pedestal where this person really made you feel like you were bulletproof in a love machine, right? It's like, if you think about it, so when you fall from that, wow, was that a sign right there? Some firecrackers? When you fall from that, it's really tough. It's really tough. And so you carry that rejection from that breakup, right? And this is why I like to tell people, stay the hell off social media, because the minute you see your ex-partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, or wife having a good time, or dare I say with someone else, you almost feel rejection all over again. It's really hard, okay? And so getting into this right now, dating after your breakup, top 5 dating tips. Are you ready? Thank you. Okay, let's get started. Number 1, go on bad dates. If you've been to my channel before, I tell people this all the time. It doesn't mean that all the dates are going to be bad. Just anticipate some of these dates are going to be bad. And if they're bad, send your story into writemac.com and we'll share it anonymously. And that's the thing. Anonymous sharing is not shameful. It's only when everyone knows your name and your face that you feel like that. But if we share our bad dates a little bit, this is something I'm going to start to do. Let's have some fun with it. These are good stories. And everyone's had a bad date or two. And in the moment you thought, oh my God, what the hell's wrong with me? So go on bad dates. We're going to unpack 2 stories in about 10, 15 minutes. And I'll give you some examples of that. And that's just a mindset to have, right? Number 2, don't take rejection personal. You ask a woman out. Let's say you're a woman that's giving off the vibe to try to get a guy to ask you out, right? And I've told women this before. If you're interested, don't be afraid to ask a guy out this day and age. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. A lot of women, if you want to, go and ask them out, or hint like you like to do, okay? But if you get rejected, someone says, you know what? I don't want to go out with you, or I already have plans. They make an excuse, and they're like, I know they're lying to me. Okay, if you know they're lying to you, just accept that they don't want to go out.
Just eat it.
That they're uncomfortable, right? And don't take that personal. And it could be timing in their life. It could be they don't want to go out with anyone right now, let alone you. It could be that they're seeing someone else and you don't know that. So it's not that they don't want to go out with you. It's just the timing, right? It's like, actually, I just started dating someone else. But if they weren't dating someone else, they're not going to tell you that, right? It's like, if you've ever asked someone out before and they go, oh, I'm seeing someone right now, but I have a friend. That means that usually they think of you highly enough that I would probably date you. I just can't right now. if they're going to recommend you to a friend?
You're going to be in their circle, right?
Right. I mean, why would you? I wouldn't recommend
a bad person.
Right. So one of my good friends.
Yeah.
So take it as a compliment, but they're also kind of saying in a roundabout way, wow, if I was single, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rejection when it becomes a problem is when you start coming up with these stories, these ideas that, oh, they just made a lie to me. Oh, they don't want to go out with me. Oh, wherever you go down this negative rabbit hole,
I'm not good enough.
Don't try to figure it out. Just accept it, move on. And again, you'll hear me say this, just write back, okay, or okay, I understand, and just accept it. It's okay. It's actually, when you think about it, not a big deal. I would rather you tell me that than go out on a date with me that you don't want to go on. That's not even a bad date. That's just when someone's just checked out or they're just trying to get a free meal, right? I've heard of this happening a lot recently with dating apps, that there's a large portion of women out there, not saying it's true, that are just looking for a free lunch, a free dinner, and they're going to choose the most expensive restaurant. They're going to get the most expensive drink, and they think, ha, 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 ha. They're telling all their friends, oh, yeah, we got to go to Culeros, and we got to go to this place. You know what? Karma will take that down at some point, right? Okay? So don't get overly invested in that idea, right? So if someone rejects you off the bat, there's a lot of good clarity. There's a lot of good clarity in that. Okay. Number 3, it's a discovery mission you can abort at any time. A couple of my clients love this statement. It's just a way to frame a date. Don't get ahead of yourself. This is really hard for people that are planners, high achievers, people that get straight A's, people that get the jobs they always want. They want the date to go perfect. They want the date to go right. They want to figure out, is this the person that I can marry?
They're planning.
Right? Like, I don't see a future with them. There's a friend of mine that I've known for years, and she's a high achiever. And she'll literally ask on the first date, what's your plan for the next 5 years? I'm like, that's a bit heavy. I mean, it's not just, you know what I mean? Right. And she's like, sometimes the guy he doesn't even have an answer. I'm like, people don't all think that way. They think I have a job, this and that. Is it nice to be that way? Yeah, if you're at a fucking retreat for coaching or something like that. But on your first date, what's your 5-year plan? Whoa, man. Some people might have that answer and some might not. This is a discovery mission. The first date should be fun, carefree. You shouldn't have a lot of rules in play. Go to do some things. One of the things that Corey Wayne talks about, which a client put me up on, because I've read the book once, but I haven't lived by it, nor have I read it 10 or 15 times.
You didn't read it 15?
No, but I understand his reason. But one of the things is when you go on a date, have a plan to go somewhere second or third. So this guy, when he goes on a date, he goes to dinner, then he goes canoeing, then he goes to a bar afterwards. I'm like, wow, man, you learned that? He's in his early 20s, like Corey Wayne. I'm like, that's a good idea. You also need to have some money in hand, right? You're going out to dinner, you're going to do this, you're going to plan a trip, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. It's like, sounds great. Not everyone has that budget, but good idea. Bottom line is you're planning fun things to do to get to know each other. Okay. So if the date is really horrible, like the person offends you, they're spitting on the ground in a restaurant, they're picking their nose. I mean, it's just like, this is disgusting. Or their picture on the dating app, they're an extra 45 kilos. It's like,
they got a few hamsters.
You're allowed to abort that mission and say, you know what? I just got a call from a friend. I know you've seen it in movies before, or I've got an emergency. Leave. It's okay. It's all right. That's worst case scenario. Usually, ride out the date. You're not interested. You're not that attracted to him. Do your best to have a good time. Maybe something will come of it. Yeah. It's a discovery mission. You can abort at any time. Number 4, when you filter for a good one, it'll take time. So if you're not just looking for random hookups, which if you are, good for you. Just know what it is. If you're looking for random hookups, but you're like, oh, I never meet a good one. There's just no good catches here. It's like, well, recalibrate the filter. Like, if you're going to find someone that's a good match, that usually isn't the movies, and you're not going to knock on the door next door and go, oh, are you single? And usually what happens too, if you're looking for quote unquote a good one, or one that's lined up with your morals and values, and someone that you could really vibe with, right? A lot of them are taken. Okay, so those are the people you meet that are in your circles, and they're like, oh, so-and-so's got a girlfriend, so-and-so's got a boyfriend. Okay, I'm not telling you to pursue them, right? But it's going to probably take a little bit of time. That's all. Be patient. Because when we're younger, we usually just go, oh, cute, available, gives me attention, rubs my back. All right. And then you overlook the fact that, they're a stage 9 clinger. You overlook the fact that they don't have a dime to their name and they just want to eat off you. Okay. So you overlook things. When you're looking for a good one, you got to filter better. It'll take more time. Be patient. Number 5, take an inventory of where you spend your free time. This is big, right? Where do you spend your free time? I would even take an inventory of your job. Does your job have potential contenders as a good one, right? So if you're a divorce lawyer, I don't know if that's a good place to be. There's going to be some available people, but you're going to be in, a lot of bad situations. So you're going to find someone outside of work. When I was, I think 18, 19, I worked in a mall. Actually, it's not a cool job now or anything like that. No one would go, oh, great, you work at a retail space, right? But actually to meet women, it's a mall, right? Women, for some reason, like malls. Maybe I'm making a generalization here. If Sabina was on right now, oh, that's a generalization, right? Not all, but right? And the coworkers at the retail store, there's a lot of women you work with, right? So that was an area to meet them. Not telling you to quit your job, just take an inventory. Where do I spend my free time? Now, outside of work, on the weekends, what do you do? Oh, I just stay in and play video games. Good luck. Okay? Good luck. Do potential partners hang out there? Is this a place where you could meet someone? Okay? If you're an exercise nut or a gym rat, well, then the gym would be the best place to ask out dates, right? Because you guys are going to have a common ground, and you're both going to be looking your best. Number 6, as a bonus, what are you really looking for? Write it out and just be honest with yourself. If you're some guy that, slams 2 pizzas on the weekend in a 12-pack, has a little bit of a belly, and you're like, oh, I only date hot chicks. How's that going, dude? It's all right. It's all right. Take some inventory. What are you really looking for? And are you being realistic? I don't want to shoot down anyone's dreams, but in this world now with Instagram and pictures, some people's parameters, they need to take some inventory of themselves. And that's number 7, another bonus. Allow yourself time to regroup. This is actually great advice. So please listen. Allow yourself some time to regroup and fix your weak spots. So if you're going to get someone equal or higher value to your ex, coaching, therapy, which I provide, hypnotherapy or coaching, so that you can clean up whatever bitterness that you have about your breakup. You can clean up any narratives where you're like, all women cheat or all women don't care about you. If you're going to go that route, let's clean that up, because that's not going to serve you. If you meet other people that do well with women or other women that do well with men, I bet they don't have that mindset. And you might go, well, they're just good looking. They also work on that. I have friends that are good looking, women that are good looking. It's not like they just wake up every morning and, walk out, right? They actually put some weight on that. Okay. So allow yourself to fix your weak spots. So therapy, coaching, gym, exercise, money. If money's a weak spot, I've been there in my life. Don't ignore that, because it's going to limit your options. Oh, women are all materialistic. Not all, but I mean, when you get to a certain age, when you're outside your 20s, mid 20s, how are you going to provide for each other? How are you going to help each other out? That's a real thing. So if your money's low and you're looking to get into a new relationship, fix that first. Figure that out. So what's your soft spots? Because those are going to float to the surface when you start dating again, and you're going to be insecure about that, right? So you might be thinking, oh, I got to get back in the game. You got to get back in the game, but you also got to look at it like, all right, how do I regroup like Rocky? How do I get back? And everyone always says exercise in the gym, because it's number 1, because you can control that, right? And someone, oh yeah, I'm not going to tell you that advice. Okay, do some kind of exercise. If you're not doing that, You're just going to end up with someone else that doesn't do exercise. That's all. All right, Mr. Slamming 123. I can't remember who that is. Mr. Slamming 123. I'm good. Good eye, Rye Flint. Another shrimp on the barbie. Parisa, you finally made one. Thank you. Pro One Theologist. Does that mean you're a theology major? All right, we got a different bag today. Cool. So what we're going to talk about today is bad dates. If anyone wants to call in and share a bad date, that would be cool. In the spirit of worst case scenario, top 5 dating tips, you always hear me say, allow yourself to go on bad dates. Maybe I shouldn't say go on bad dates. Maybe that's a bad intention. Allow yourself to do that. Okay. And then I'm going to share right now 2 stories that have come in a couple days ago, and I think last week on the live stream.
We did ask.
I also asked. This is when I'm going to evolve the channel a little bit. I like the breakups. I like to help in that situation. Let's evolve the content a little bit. And if you have a bad breakup, send it in anonymously. Let me unpack it and share it so everyone can go, oh, shoot, someone else has had a bad situation. Stop taking things personal. Stop making a big drama out of one bad date. Okay? And let us all feed off the laughter and fun of your bad date. Right? Anonymously.
Yeah, anonymously.
Right? Let's do that, please. So after I get done with these, if someone wants to call in and express a bad date or talk about something like that, we can do that.
Or put one in the chat.
Put one in it's the thing about the chat is that it's limited in text. So I've had B before you help me out. Someone would go, I'd be like, put your story in, and then they would go, we broke up yesterday. I want her back. What should I do? It's like, can you put in the story? We broke up. She was really mad because I was coming home late at night. I'm like, it's not enough, man. You know, it's like, so it's probably going to take you calling, and I can send the link out. All right. Dear coach, feel free to share this story on your live stream. My worst date was when I went on a second date with a woman whom I went on one date with, and I knew she wasn't for me. But she was cute, and I was out of a bad breakup. All right, so that right there clarifies maybe in a different time frame he wouldn't have went out on a second date. What I would say to that is if your first date is neutral or there's a few things that you don't like, but there's enough that you do like, then go out on a second date. Or if you don't have options, you know, going out on a second one, maybe they had a bad day or something. It's not the worst thing to do. Okay. On the first date, we went to dinner, and that was okay, by the way. I knew her years before this, so it wasn't a stranger. I just wasn't close to her and had dated her and had heard from a friend that went to college who went to college with the football team and said that the football team had ran through her. Okay, well, thanks for that clarity.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nice to take a shot at her anonymously right here, because we already know you had a problem about this date, right? So this is why you want to, I like you sending in your stories, but please reread them and just do a quick edit.
Or maybe I should go through it first. And then just change
it's easy. I just wasn't close to her, and I dated her, and I'd heard from a friend that went to college with her that the football team had ran through her. I mean, if I heard from a reliable source that, I would probably take a second take on going out with her, just because your friend's probably laughing in the corner that you went out with her. But that being said, people can change. And as long as she's healthy, not sure how true that was, but my buddy was on the team too, and he wasn't a bullshitter. Well, that sounds like a primary source. Still, I put that info to the side as I thought I kind of needed this date to get up back on the horse. Of course, she talked a lot, but the bad part was that she kept talking about her ex. And not only that, but by first name, as if I knew him. That is different, huh?
Yeah. When you're like, Bob was doing this
or
whatever, you're like,
right?
Okay.
It is different. That's interesting context. And when it rains, it pours. I've been on dates before where they talk about their ex and first name, and you're kind of like, I feel like I know this guy all of a sudden, you know? And really, when they start talking really bad, sometimes as a guy, you're like, I actually take his side on that one. Like, you're acting like you're still together. Then she invited herself into my house. Okay, sorry. She kept talking about her ex. Not only that, but by his first name as if I knew him. Then she invited herself into my house when we went home. Well, that's not always a bad thing, because you can say no. She invited herself back, which I wasn't keen on, but I thought, why not? She then told me that she wanted kids and that my house was in a good school district. This surprised me and scared me a bit, as she was talking about how much she wanted a kid. She wasn't even in a stable relationship. Well, this is one of those things you kind of just put in the Rolodex of your mind. Later on, you're like, that's a red flag. But, you know, keep in mind, you have full power to make a kid. So it's not that scary, okay? The minute you hear that, you go, maybe we're not going to sleep together, okay? You got a power in that. Just like when people go, oh, I can't believe I got these 2 kids. Who did that? Well, I didn't know. It's like, hey, man, it takes 2 to tango, right? After that date, which we didn't hook up, we still texted each other. Okay. Why? But the crazy thing was that her neighbor was a girl whom I got her number a week before. So when she said she was dating me, the girl whose number I got started calling me and sending me hoish messages, spelled Hoeish. So I'm assuming hoish messages. I don't even think I've ever heard of that term. This guy's put together a new term. Hoish messages, which threw me off because we had never went out, and I just kind of got her number because I was trying to build up my confidence. But I didn't really find her that attractive. So we have a theme here where you're going on dates with women that you don't really find attractive, that you're not really into, just to get back on the horse. I don't have a problem with that. I understand where you're coming from, and this makes great content, right? Yeah. So it's okay because you can look back on it. The only problem is when people settle and they go on these bad dates and then they go, well, I'll just go on another one. This is my only option. What you're doing here is you're clarifying, this person had interest in me, but I don't really have interest, right? So, but I didn't really find her that attractive. Keep in mind, post-breakup, you guys can confirm in the comments, we're usually a little bit more finicky and fickle about who we're dating because we're comparing. So hopefully your last girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, what have you, was attractive to you still, not always. And so in that case, it's you know, you're always like, oh, she's not as good or he's not as good. So that you tend to be more sensitive on the Richter scale of attractiveness. You with me? Okay. But that night, my other buddy reported getting, I'm not going to say the words because it's a little bit graphic. Getting fellatio. Is that what you call that? Mm-hmm. Is it called fellatio?
It is.
Is that a term you use?
No, but I've definitely heard that.
Fellatio. Oral. From her. So that dismissed her immediately. So let me just read this back. The girl whose number I got started calling me and sending me hoish messages, which threw me off because we had never went out. And I just kind of got her number because I was trying to build up my confidence. But I really find her attractive. This is, keep in mind, the neighbor of the girl that went on the original date.
Yeah, okay.
But that night, my other buddy reported getting oral from her. So that dismissed her immediately. But getting back to the next date with the original woman, is everyone with me? Are you with this, B, or is this confusing? Okay. I met her at her house where she made dinner for us, which was macaroni and cheese from the box with boiled hot dogs. That would be a red flag for me because I'm a little bit, I like healthy food. If it's not healthy, I would prefer gourmet hot dogs over boiled ones with mac and cheese, but I've had mac and cheese with hot dogs. Mm-hmm. To put this in context, I prefer healthier food, but okay, I ate up. Then I got a bite of mac and cheese where the powder was still there, which happens when you don't mix it well. That's disgusting. I wiped it out of my mouth in a napkin. I was discreet, but she immediately asked if I didn't like the food. This is just a bad one, huh? Could you imagine sitting down, boiled hot dogs and mac and cheese? I would eat it. I'm a polite person. Like
you would go, yeah. Okay,
yeah, like yeah. I would that wouldn't be my choice of food, but I would sit down and eat it. I'd be like, oh yeah, I used to eat this as a kid and stuff like that. I'd make light of it. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be the end for me, but I would, you know.
I mean, you wouldn't need to go in for seconds or, you know.
No, I wouldn't eat at her house again. No.
Yeah.
But having a bite where there's cheese powder. That's gross. I wiped it out of my mouth in a napkin. I was discreet, but she immediately asked if I didn't like the food. I said, no, I just got a powder bite. And she started laughing and said she actually liked the powder bites, which disgusted me a bit. I think it disgusts a lot of people. Then her neighbor popped in the door. So this is the neighbor that he was talking about earlier. This was a small apartment complex. And again, this was the girl that had been sending me dirty text. My date offered her some food. She then grabbed a hot dog with her hands and dipped it in the mac and cheese and sucked the cheese juice off clean, then dipped it again. My date laughed. This is something that, you know, this is like a Seinfeld X-rated. My date laughed and actually dared her to deep throat the hot dog for her TikTok post.
No.
Which she did. And then when she left the room for the bathroom, she said she wanted me and that we could get threesome. But it would be best if I showered first, as she said her neighbor was a clean freak. No pun intended. Okay. A part of me didn't want to do it, but I felt like for the sake of a good story and for my buddies that this is most men's dream. Well, sounds like you're just doing it for ego, but you know, if you ask your intuition, is this safe? I don't know. I had to go for it. So I entered the bathroom and took a quick shower to clean up. Then when I left the bathroom, all the lights were off. There were candles and 3 cats roaming around the candles. They then asked me to sit down on the couch, and they brought out a cage and what looked like a whip for a racehorse. At that point, I got up to leave. One of them pushed me down and started playing up that I was scared to just relax. That's when I did a swim move on one of them and went straight for the door. So if anyone knows what a swim move is, I think he's talking about like in football, you go over like this, like go around someone.
Push your way through a bit.
You just go around them. Oh, yeah, that's how I would take a swim move. Sure. If that's what he meant. Is everyone staying with this? All right.
This had to be premeditated by the girls.
I don't know.
It sounds like it. I mean, Jesus.
At one point I got up to leave. Then one of them pushed me down, started playing up that I was scared to just relax. That's when I did a swim move on one of them and I went straight for the door, which was padlocked. This could be a screenplay, man. But I managed to get it undone. Then I ran out to my car where they followed me out and called me a wussy with a P and other names. Then I got in my car and the woman kept texting me crazy pics. And I was looking at the phone and I got pulled over by a cop for being on my phone. This is the worst case scenario, right? The cop was actually a cool cop. So I told him the story and showed him the pics and he laughed and also called me a wussy. I went home and showered up, locked the door, blocked both of them, and didn't go on the date for a year.
Like another date? He didn't go on.
That's what he writes.
No, I didn't go.
This isn't a former client of mine, so this is a pretty creative story. I mean,
so you don't actually know this person?
No, sometimes I know the people, right? This is, like I said, send in your bad dates because it's hilarious, right? It's kind of funny. But is this possible? Yeah. Sure.
I've never
I mean, with it, I don't know if this would force you into never going on a date again, but it'd be like one of the things you could take away from this, right? One of the things you could take away from this is the idea that he mentions on both of these women. I just got the number. I just went on the date to get back on the horse. In other words, this isn't someone you really wanted to date. This isn't someone that you had a bad feeling in the beginning. And actually, when you heard from your buddy that she had hooked up with the whole football team, and you're like, well, I'll just go on the date because I'm going to break up. Have a little bit of discrepancy, right? Rethink things. Probably the minute you were getting these dirty texts and the minute you had a bad date the first time, you should just go cut your losses, move on, move forward. On the flip side, great story.
Great story.
You can make this a Hollywood skit. And you're okay. I don't know why you didn't date for another year. Unless it was like, unless you felt like it was post-traumatic stress and you were trapped with candles and cats.
Yeah, like you just couldn't get out.
Right.
Yeah.
If you told me they weren't out of there, but you got out, right?
Yeah, he made it.
You made it, and the woman didn't really hurt you. I think the worst part of the whole story was the cheese powder macaroni and cheese fight.
That's
pretty
the worst
nasty
part for you.
That's saying that. I'm going to tell people this all the time, right? Look at your life, right? It's just, this is a 2-hour moment. 10 minutes of it was scary where you felt trapped.
It's a little legitimate scary moment that you were trapped in.
Yeah, right? Right? But you got out. So you shouldn't have carried this for the whole year. And just your lesson from this is when you get a bad feeling or you're just going to go out with someone that you think is shady because you want to get back on the horse, have a little bit more discrepancy on your intuition, right? And if you got it wrong this time, it's okay, right? You didn't go back to the house again. You run into these girls again, fine. It actually reminds me, a friend of mine that was a college roommate, he was only my college roommate for like a year, but women really liked him. He was like 6'3". I wouldn't say he had a great personality. He was a little cocky, but attracted women very easily, right? And he got approached by 2 women at a bar for a threesome. So they went back to his house and he felt violated afterwards. What? He just felt like they were pushy and it was uncomfortable. And some of the things that were done afterwards were demanding and stuff. And he ran into him another night when I was with him and he was like, let's leave. And he wasn't an insecure guy. I don't know what went down.
He just didn't want to deal with it.
And he kind of just did it just like the same thing. Like, oh, this is, and he didn't call it an ego thing. Like, this is what every guy wants. And it wasn't good. Like, he didn't want to talk about the details, whatever happened. So
he didn't get into it. So
maybe I should contact him and ask him about, this encounter to send it in. All right. Next story. Does anyone want to call in and try to top that one? Kind of makes you feel like, oh shit, I don't have that many bad dates actually. All right. Another thing we can do eventually too is what's your best date? For some reason, it's not as entertaining, huh? When you go, oh God, that was so romantic. And then the kiss, right? So this next one's titled My Worst Date. And again, if you want to send this into writemac.com, please do. Please do. I dating a woman, so please help your grammar a little bit. I was dating a woman I worked with. It was kind of dating as I knew she liked me, but I wasn't really into her. So decide if it was dating or not, whatever. Okay. She was 19 and I was 19. So let's just put this into complete context of being youthful. I don't know what his age is now. She had a boyfriend and looked about 28 and used to come into the store and mug me for no reason. Okay. Then she eventually broke up with him and she started asking me for rides home as she didn't drive because as a kid, she was in a bad car accident. So I gave her a couple rides and we went out to eat a couple times. But there was something off about the situation as she started telling me on the phone that she wanted to take me to Miami. At the time, we lived in Oregon. Okay. So maybe it was just not a lot of people go to Miami on the weekends there, huh? She claimed to have family there and that we could stay there for a couple weeks. So basically, this is one of those things, 0 to 100. You guys go out a couple times. You don't know the whole story with the ex-boyfriend who seems, dare I say, dangerous. I don't know. He's 10 years older than you and he's coming in mugging people.
Yeah. And she's ready to go on cross-country.
Yes. That's when you go, wait a minute. Right? Is this a an infomercial here? She claimed to have family there and that we could stay there for a couple of weeks. I wasn't interested and thought this was a bit much for a couple dates. So I think what he's saying is her asking him to give rides home didn't feel like a complete date, but then it ended up being that way. Okay. Then we met at a park near her home and went for a walk where she gave me a hug goodbye and slammed her tongue down my throat. Well, a lot of people wouldn't complain about that, but the way you're describing it doesn't sound good. Have you ever had an aggressive kiss like that, B? Where you're like
I wasn't prepared for it? I don't think so.
You don't even
I don't think so. I don't think anyone's done that to me before.
Skinner, we're doing bad date stories today. You're missing out, man. So she claimed to have family there. I'm sorry. So, excuse me. Then we met at a park near her home and went for a walk where she gave me a hug goodbye and slammed her tongue down my throat. I felt something wasn't right. Plus, it was such an aggressive kiss that our teeth hit, and that just turned me off. And I told her I'd call her and went home.
So she went in hard.
Have you had a teeth hitter before?
Yeah.
Was it her fault or your fault?
Probably mutual. I don't
That's
know.
the thing about a bad kiss. Everyone goes, you're a bad kisser. It's like, no, you are. Within 20 minutes, she was calling me off the hook to tell me that she was sorry and that she knows why I left. I said, why was that? She goes, my ex-boyfriend was watching us and he said he knows where you live. I've had an experience similar to this, actually. Not the same exact thing.
Stalking.
I've talked about it in the live stream. I had a similar situation. It's not the exact same thing, though. There wasn't a kiss being slammed down my throat.
But somebody was.
So you basically have a woman here that's a booby trap. Okay, like it's a minefield. You think, oh, this is casual. Oh, let's go out to Miami. Oh, you know what? My boyfriend was watching us from afar. Is that okay with you? No.
She was probably escaping
right
to Miami.
She goes, my ex-boyfriend was watching us and he said he knows where you live. She said he came up to her right before after I left. He said he won't hurt you if I take him back. Then she went on that her uncle was a cop, and then she already told him, so don't worry, a cop car will be checking in with you and just asking you to file a report. That way, if he does something, they can put him in jail. Jesus.
This is a lot for.
So any of you out there that think you've had a bad date before, okay, rest assured. The cops never came, but I was spooked, and I wasn't even that interested in her. And this is, you noticing kind of a thing about bad dates that you kind of are going out with someone you get a bad feeling about initially. It's kind of interesting. Great story though. And I wasn't even interested in her. I had visions of becoming a story on a news program. She actually quit the job 2 weeks later, and I didn't know why. I was cordial with her, but I told her no more rides home when I was done dating her. The boyfriend came in the store that week, but I just hid in the toilet. I wasn't going to get in a fight with a stalker, let alone a woman that wasn't a girlfriend. Now, some guys out there might go, oh, what a wuss. Oh, like, why would you fight over someone that's not your girlfriend? It's like, hey, man, there's no valor in that. Looking back, I think she wanted him to fight for her. Possibly. There are women out there. I haven't been in that situation, but there are women out there that would love to see a stage drama show where a guy's fighting. I've witnessed a fight over a woman before that was comical, but the woman just sat there and was like, and they were fighting over her. You could tell. I could tell that story in a moment or two, but I mean, absolutely bad date story. But if you look at both of these bad date stories that I just went over, when you're out of them, you're out of them. And these are worst case scenarios. And if you look at the dates that you think are bad now, right, compared to some of these, you're like, whoa.
Not so bad.
Right. I mean, and so when I say prepare or allow yourself to go on a bad date when you're post breakup, let's hope that they're not these bad, right? But on the flip side, if the person's, stuck up, or let's just say that your politics are different, and then it gets into some passionate talk about politics, or you said something racial that offended them, or you know what I mean? Those are all things that can just take it into another direction where you're both like, where are we going to go with this? Abort the mission, like you might be able to leave the date early, or you might be able, I would say both of these individuals that had these dates and situations, these were discovery missions that went too far. And the good thing is the minute they went too far, they're out.
Done.
They're okay. Right? Hence the reason why I talk about bad dates. It's not that bad. Now, if anyone wants to share a bad date, I can bring you on, invite you on. Or if you'd like to talk about your current breakup or situation, you are welcome to hop on. If not, B has about 7 bad dates lined up about his stories that he wants to tell everyone about? No.
Those first two actually were mine, so we got those out of the way.
Have you ever had that scenario where, I don't think I have. I think because usually when you go on a date, a guy chooses where you go.
Mm-hmm. Well,
not always,
not
right?
always, but
Sometimes a girl will say like, "Oh, I want to go here or there,"
Mm-hmm.
but like going to a place where the food is not what you want to eat. Have you had that happen? Because you're a picky eater, actually.
I used to be, but yeah, like where you're just not into it. Like if you're,
I think the worst place I've ever been to, and it wasn't a date. It was I was working at a new job, and the guy that ended up being kind of a mentor, boss, someone I looked up to at the time and really helped me out. He would take you out to lunch, you know, and he'd go out for a nice lunch all the time. In real estate, it's kind of like that's part of what you do. You go out to lunch a lot, and it's fairly nice places. You know, sit down. He's like, "Oh man, let's get some Indian food." I was like 25,
right?
Never had Indian food, and I was kind of like, and he was like, "Oh, I love it," and I was like, I remember thinking, oh. Now, full disclosure, at my age now, I love Indian food. Just depends on the place.
Yeah,
I love it. So it was just inexperience and ignorance, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the place he took me to was like it almost was like cafeteria Indian food in a fairly nice location.
Okay.
There was a few flies on the premises. Okay. And to me, the stuff that I chose was like not very good. And even my other friend that was there that had eaten Indian food was like, this is not that good. And he was like, oh, it's great. Mm-hmm. And you're just in a position where you got to eat food you don't like.
You have to.
I think the older you get, your taste buds are less sensitive, so you can do it. Yeah. And that's actually from evolution. Kids do have sensitive taste buds, because that's how you avoid getting poisoned when you were in the Neanderthal days. That's true. So that's why they're very sensitive about bad taste. So then when you get older, you just evolve where you can eat more things. Maybe that's too much information, but I thought I'd throw that in. Worst place I've taken a date was a theme park. Why?
No, she's been taken.
Excuse me. I was wondering. Why? I want to hear about that. We actually have a small theme park by my house. I've never taken a date on a theme park because actually I don't like scary rides. I don't like roller coasters.
You mean the ones that go like, you know.
I don't like roller coasters. Yeah. Never have. And whenever I was a kid, I'd go with friends or family, or you go on like school trips, and I would just wait outside the lines.
You'd be in the teacup.
I've been on scary rides. I've been on a roller coaster a few times. I've been on like, come on, and I'm like, all right, and I'm like, that wasn't fun. It's not fun to me. Mm-hmm. In my mind, that's one of my like I'll go on an airplane. Mm-hmm. Even I did a Ferris wheel. They call it something different here.
You didn't like the Ferris wheel?
Have you ever been on ones that are like really high?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they call them something else though. Like in Europe, they're called a line or something else. So in Thailand, I went on one in Chiang Mai, and it was, I don't know how high it was. I mean, like 20, 30 stories high. It was huge. Mm-hmm. It was big. Mm-hmm. And then me and my girlfriend get on. I'm a little nervous, but I'm like, okay, it's like, yeah. It was actually a box. They stack our teacup or whatever it is, right? With two parents and a little boy that's like 5. And it's like, all right. And they're like, hi. Mm-hmm. And they get on, and the boy starts doing this on the fucking thing. Like, and I'm like, fuck. Like get me tell him to stop, dude. You know what I mean? Like, right. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, sorry. And I think they were, I forgot which country they're from. I think they might have been from China, so they didn't speak very good English. But it was so uncomfortable. My girlfriend was laughing at me, but I was like, I get into my head, I don't trust the machine or the people operating it.
Like they're gonna fuck it up.
I didn't scream, I didn't go off or anything, but I was just uncomfortable. Like really? I wouldn't do it again. Mm-hmm. It wasn't fun. And I wouldn't want to go like oh, let's just do roller coasters. Nah, not my thing. I just feel it too deeply. And like I said, I've done it a few times. Yep. No, I don't like it.
What about like Santa Cruz? Have you been to Santa Cruz?
Boardwalk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Once or twice.
Those aren't too bad.
The wooden roller coasters? No.
But it doesn't go like upside
down. When I lived in San Diego, there was a roller coaster right near my house. Hell no. You know what I mean? I'd rather go to the arcade, I guess. But right. I remember Great America, been there a few times. You've probably been to Great America a few times.
Yeah.
I'd go, I'll do the river rafter ride. The river rapid ride.
One that just gets you wet a little bit.
Yeah, or Pirates of the Caribbean at Disney. Like, I won't go and do the hardcore roller coaster. Why? Just don't get a good feeling from it, man.
I've never done the ones that
You go
really
upside
high
down?
that swing. Like you'll get strapped into something and it'll like swing, like a flying.
Doesn't look fun to me, dude. I threw up on the spider ride, never spoke to him again.
Yeah, that'll get you.
That's one of those things where
That'll get you.
if someone's going to take you to a theme park, some people be like, fuck yeah, cool. Right? That's something you got to say, hey, you want to check it? Like, even though Corey Wayne or some of these people are like, you take the lead. I agree with that. Women like a leader. They like you to plan a date. But on a theme park with roller coasters, you might want to ask someone like, are you cool with going on a theme, like going on the rides and stuff? Because if you don't go on the rides,
what are you really doing?
you play the carnival games that rip you off. That that could be a bust too, right? You didn't win the stuffed animal. You didn't win the goldfish. I could see that being a problem. Spider ride. That's funny. You probably should have spoke up and said, look, I just don't really like rides that much. Can we go somewhere else? That's actually good, because I would be like, I don't want to pay for a theme park that you don't even want to go to. Even recently, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, like fairs. My parents live in a town or city that has a local fair.
Yeah, small. Yeah.
Right. And I was like, I'm not getting on any of these rides, man. These are like, I had no interest.
Those ones, I don't know if I
the
trust
carny folk
completely. Yeah. I've seen some documentaries and stuff that have gone. It's gone pretty bad.
I just thought, yeah, like to me, I'm like, I'm not gonna play that game. Thanks. So that's a good one. Thanks for dropping that in, Ryflint. I went on a date at a park. The girl I met catfished me. Worst 2 hours ever. I should have left in the first 10 minutes. How does it work that you went on a date at a park? Like, let's just meet up at the park and talk, or we're gonna play on the swings, play some hoops.
And she was totally someone different.
So when you say catfished me, that she looked
completely different.
I mean, that's just part of dating apps, I think, right? So anything that's online. It's funny looking at my YouTube channel, you can see me in different lights, different haircuts, different things, and people look different at different times in their life or different times in the day. But if catfish to me is like
complete, like
that's a lie, right?
Yeah.
When someone does that, because catfishing, the original term for that was when someone was having a long-term.
Well, the famous one is
the TV show, right?
The football player, Manti Te'o.
They had a long-term thing. They never met.
Yeah, well, his is great.
And she was showing pictures and videos.
It was that story.
I didn't watch it,
dude. It's okay.
I know the parameters of it.
Yeah. Well, he met somebody. He went to school. He's from Hawaii. He went to school in somewhere in the States. I think Notre Dame.
For college, yeah.
For college, and he was like the star, linebacker.
I knew that.
Yeah. So and then
linebacker too.
Yeah, and he had a fairly decent NFL career, I think, or whatever. But the dude that he was. Well, the girl that he thought he was talking to was a dude in Hawaii, and made up a story about like all this crazy stuff, and his grandma died or something. It was insane, and like it was national news.
But they never met in person?
No.
That happens now online. I mean, narratives can spin people, right? Manipulation is one of those things that, like, until it's over, good manipulator, a good narcissist, a good storyteller, a good salesman, you don't even know, right? And it's, but I believe that. I think that's just part of worst 2 hours ever. I should have left in the first time. If you feel like you got catfished, I'm going to give you approval that you don't need to stick around.
Not even 10 minutes.
I mean, all right. So Mr. Slamming 123 online date, she looked different. How different did she look? Like on a percentage? That's a good question, huh? Like 20% different? Was it just
a different race? Like what was she? Like what
was she just a little more pudgy than you thought, or chubby?
Right.
That's one that I hear a lot from guys, that the weight, because you can take pictures and slim the face or have an older picture.
Oh, like or with an app or something.
And then you can. Well, you also don't get full body pics. If you think about it, right? Some people might take a picture of their full body, but it's from afar. But the funny thing about that is, if someone has a good body, they're always taking
Like you'll be.
Yeah, there's a girl that's on Instagram that she followed me, so I followed her, kind of a thing, for dating advice or something like that. But she's always in yoga pants, crop top, great body, and she takes videos like, here, I'm just making my smoothie, dancing. It's like, oh, really? Everyone wants to take video of themselves while they're making a smoothie for Instagram.
That's exactly what TikTok is, isn't it?
Right? Like, but also the guy that's, the sloppy, or the woman that's overweight would they be taking it in a hoodie? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Probably not. It's just what it is now. I guess that's just part of the thing. So we're talking about bad dates, Petty Betty. If you have one, go ahead and share your worst date. Online dating should look different. That's just part of the game, I think. I think they're always going to look different. The funny thing is, like, do they ever surprise you? You're like, damn, you look better than the pictures. That's probably like a 1 percentile.
Your pictures look so bad online, but you look great now.
I had one years ago when I haven't used dating apps very often because I've been in monogamous relationships. So I haven't used them a lot of times. But or for like a long period of time, and I'm quite social and I have a pretty good network, so I just don't go there. I'm not against them, and I think it's a good useful tool, right? But I remember talking to this one girl, beautiful picture. It was like, you win. You got one of the nicer pictures. You get into your texting back and forth or whatever, you get some dialogue. And then I was like, wow, you look good, or something like that. And she's like, actually, I've gained a lot of weight since then. And then she sends me a recent picture, which, to be honest, at least you're being honest. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, you do look
a little different.
She's like, look, I even have belly fat. And I was like, are you trying to, like, in my head, are you trying to scare me away? Because you did. But honesty is the best policy. But her original photo, shit, man. She could be in Vogue or something, man. So that's just part of the game. That's why I would say trying to get a video chat before you meet up is probably good. I don't think that's out of line to call someone up and like get a video chat. And if they're like, oh, I don't want you to see me, it's like, well,
why not?
We can all look better or look different. I'm using lights right now, right? I mean, does that make a big difference? I don't know. It's part of the game though, right? I look so much better in person than photos. I believe you. Good for you. Over deliver. Right?
You're surprised. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
All right.
I've heard of some women before saying that they, hello, am I visible?
Yeah.
I don't know, B.
Your text is visible.
Is that you, B?
No. You think I'm asking?
If anyone wants to hop on and share a bad date, Petty Betty, I'm going to ask you to sit this one out today. But anyone else that wants to jump on and share a bad date, audio only, if you don't want to show your picture, share a story about a really bad date that they had going on. Or if you want to flip the script, just for the sake of polarizing the situation, you can call in audio only if you do not want to show your face, if you're a little bit shy. Share a good date that you had, one of your best dates ever. B, did you have one of your greatest dates ever? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
I have one that I thought it was pretty cool for me, I guess. I took a girl to, I'd taken her like a couple dates maybe, and we went to a basketball game, and it went into like overtime, and my team ended up hitting like the game-winning shot. It was super crazy. You mean
the team that was playing?
Yeah, it was a
what team?
Stanford team.
Oh, okay.
We had
all right, so you went to a Stanford game.
Stanford basketball game.
You took the girl to the game, and it was an excellent game. They won in overtime.
Crazy game, like one of the best I've ever seen. It was like
Stanford. And she liked basketball?
Yeah, she was a sports person. So she was in sports.
Sports person.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, she was a sports person.
All right.
So she was.
And that was it?
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Did you guys get on the kiss cam?
No, nothing like that.
Remember the kiss cams at Warriors games? They had kiss cams. And then they go,
yeah.
And then sometimes like the guy will be like this, and the girl will be like, no.
But I think those are staged.
No, we're not together.
I'm always someone.
No
like,
way, they're not staged at a basketball game.
I've seen a bunch of them that I'm like,
I don't think they're staged at a ball game. Kiss cams. So after the Stanford game, what did you guys do?
I think we went out we were both in college, So I think we just went to like hang out with some friends and stuff like that. It was an awesome experience to be. It was just a great date. I don't know. She had a great time, so it was fun.
Come on, give us a little bit more, dude. Did you guys hook up in the end?
Yeah, we hooked up.
And
I'd been out with her before. I'd been out with her before.
And the hookup was good.
Yeah.
I won't share mine because we don't have time for it. Does anyone else have their greatest date or a really bad date that they want to share?
Oh, I think I was on. I think we got like because it was like a national game, and we got on like some magazines and stuff. Like there were photos of us in the crowd.
Well, then
it was kind of cool,
dude. That's probably your soulmate that you just let go. Is anyone else reading into that? I mean, the stars were lined up. You both liked basketball. The team won in overtime. You guys were filmed on the spot as a couple.
Yeah.
That sounds like you guys were soulmates. I think I would revisit that. B says, I just want to ask an advice. I am in a long distance relationship. All of a sudden he broke up with me, but he recently has been messaging me. When we broke up with me, he said that he was going to focus on his work, and I should too, but we should continue talking. All right, well, what do you want? I got a bunch of questions that I can ask you if it's long distance to clarify some things. I said, I don't want that. So he said there's no other way around it but to break up. So I did no contact. And after that, he was contacting me, asking me how I am recently. He received the gift. He said, I love you and thank you. So you send him a gift after you broke up? That's a first I've heard of.
Can we have B come on?
B, do you want to jump on anonymously with audio only? Just keep in mind this will be shared, and then you can ask.
We can get into it more.
I wouldn't say he's playing games with you. I'd have to ask more questions, but I mean, I guess it is a game a bit like people. He probably wants to keep the line open until he finds someone else. I mean, that sounds brute, but I'd have to ask more. Okay, you want to hop on? Where are you at in the world, B, if I may ask? You can use that StreamYard, Mary. I do appreciate your take. Oh, Philippines. PI. I love Filipinos. I'm from California, and actually where I live in Phuket, a lot of Filipinos. We play hoops all the time. Go ahead and use the link. It should be pretty easy. Sorry, I have to make this text real quick. Come at 2 p.m. B, are you going to call in or no? People are waiting here. PI! I'd love to go to the Philippines. All right, so if you're going to come on, then I can ask you some questions to get a little deeper on this so we can get some context. And really, I just put the link in the chat. You should be able to punch that. And like I said, if you don't want your camera on, or if you do, that's fine too. There's been some people that had their camera on. It's fine. Just know that this is public content. That's all. Yeah. B got upset a few times because. Yeah. Do I click the StreamYard? Yes. Where the link is in the comments. I think it's pretty easy. I haven't done it on my end, but I've had other people that have trouble with things like this and didn't have trouble with this. So, see that link? I don't think you can punch it from the computer, but in the chat, I think you can find a way. It should come up. But really, when you ask a simple question like that, I have to get a little deeper on you. It is kind of confusing. I have the worst date ever. One time I was on a dating app and the girl, dating apps are one of those things, you know. There you go, B. Some people have all good stories about them, so I don't know.
Go headphones.
Hi.
Hello. Are you using earbuds or
Hello, yeah. Yeah, I'm
better if you have
using
earbuds.
headphones.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, we can hear you. Okay. Everyone in the chat can hear this, and your video's not showing, so you will be anonymous. Miss B.
Yeah, I'd love to make it anonymous.
Yeah, well, no problem. So like
Yeah,
I said,
so
go ahead.
yeah, the situation is that uh one day he just told me that he needed to focus on things and that I needed to focus on things too. Because the thing is, a week or a few days prior to that, we were already talking about, well, me mostly talking about the initial plans for how we are going to close the distance. And then he was like, oh, okay, I'm still making my money here. And I know that you need to still finish whatever you have to finish there in your country. And but then I was kind of maybe pressuring him to just ask him what the directions are. And then a few days after that, he started giving me some cold shoulder. And then
Okay, let me interject. I'm listening. Let me
yeah.
interject. Okay, no problem.
Mhm.
How are you pressuring him? Like, what was the example of you pressuring him?
Um. Well, it happened. I think maybe twice. I asked him about the direction of what we're going to do for us to close the distance, so that because he actually visited me a year before, last year
So
around.
closing the distance would involve getting a visa in his country or him moving there, correct?
Yes, yes, definitely. So
Okay.
what he was telling me is that he needs to finish whatever it is that he needs to finish in his country because he owns a business and he wants to make sure that um, he will be able to leave his business running even after he leaves for my country. And then I asked him, what if I just get a job in this country and then I can move there while he's waiting for his plans to get done.
So he would have to marry you then.
Well, that's not one of the things that I'm really telling him at that moment because definitely me, I don't really want to get married right away.
But okay, so
She could just move and
well, it depends
be
on the
with him.
country,
Yeah,
right?
but I
Because
mean,
I live in Phuket, Thailand, so I'm aware of visas and different things like
Yes,
that.
yes.
You know what I mean? So I know where you're coming from. I have a
Yes.
little bit of, I'm not one of those Americans that just goes, "What? What's a visa?"
Yeah. And also those things like I really need to get the visa. So we were talking about, so what I was doing is that I was telling him that we need to um, anchor the plans right now so that we know where we will go because acquiring a visa is hard.
mhm.
Absolutely. In
Es-
certain countries, so I'm
Sure.
saying in
especially
certain countries,
for
marriage
us.
is the most foolproof way to go. So the alternative, he's gonna have to come up with some money and some other things
Yeah,
and get a lawyer.
definitely.
Are you still there? You kind of went in and out for a moment. I don't know if you covered your mic by accident.
I think we lost her.
An
You're just coming in and out right now, V. I don't know if you moved spots from where you were sitting. That might be part of it. Sometimes people move around and lose the signal.
Mm.
Patience. Yeah, we lost you for a minute there. maybe we have to maybe we'll reconnect. So I'll just take this, just getting that little bit of extra material, but you can call back in and we'll try to reconnect, B. But based on what you told me, so you got a long distance situation that you're in different countries, which is different than long distance in the same country. You're in different time zones. You want to work over there rather than wait for him to get his business together to come over to your country. So that's going to involve a visa process, most likely with him paying or you paying for that visa process would be one question. I don't think it's a crazy thing to ask. No. But also he can say no, because if he gets involved in that, it's going to be a lawyer. It's going to be a lot of things. It's a higher commitment. Now you're ready to make that commitment, right? You're like, oh no, I'll move over there. We'll do this. Something's holding him back from making that commitment because on his end, it's more financially and it's more of a commitment for him.
Like she said, he was feeling a little bit pressured, maybe.
He might be scared of the process,
right?
If he's never done that before, like, oh, getting a visa, where you're like, oh, we can do it, we can make it work. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that from his standpoint, he's looking at it like, from what I heard from you, and I could be wrong, he would prefer to get his business and his financial affairs in order because he wants to live in your country, set it up full time. So for him, he's looking at it, why would I jump through these hoops and go through these things to bring you over here
when eventually I'm going to be over there,
which is his goal.
Right.
So his finish line's different. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Hello.
Hi, I'm sorry. I've been disconnected.
That's okay. Cause right now you're a lot clearer. So this is better. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you heard what I just said. But go ahead and continue. So basically what you're looking for is, all right, so give me a time frame that he needs to figure out his business. Is it going to take 1 year, 6 months? Is there some kind of time frame on that?
Well, the thing is, he was selling, when we were talking, it was just him telling me that he's frustrated, and he was telling me that he needs to actually get this whole year to be focused on that, because he needs to be selfish doing a bunch of stuff for his business. And the thing is that he said that there are things that he needs to do that will compromise the relationship, and he didn't really tell me what that is. But the thing is, he's telling me that he really needs to do a bunch of things for the business. So this year, he's telling me this whole entire year he wants to focus on that, and he knows that I'm actually on my last year of my master's. So he wants, so he wants me to focus on that too. So he's telling me, okay, you have to finish that, you have to focus on that. Well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but he didn't really tell me what he's gonna do. So that brings a lot of confusion on my end, because I was telling him that maybe we could stay together, and I'll just be more understanding, because like if you're busy, then I'm not gonna bug you, right? So that's the thing. And I'm really confused on what he wants to do. He doesn't want a breakup, but he also wants he wants me to take a step back. He wants me to continue talking to him. And as per my standards and my terms, I didn't really want to do that, because what I'm thinking is that if you want me, then you should want whatever it takes to, because I'm not asking for too much. I mean, I'm not asking for too much.
All right, maybe so let's talk about that. I'm with you. I'm not a red pill person or someone that's like, oh, you're crazy. Let's talk about that. So that's good. You got clear thinking. So it's from what you're telling me, that's what it sounds like. He wants to take 2 steps back. You want to take 2 steps forward. So, and what I would ask when you say that he wants to, take more time for a business, and like I said, you don't need to share the business or get into details, but is that a business you believe in? And do you believe him? Do you believe him in his intentions that I need this year to get my financials in order and to concentrate on this business because it's distracting having this long-term relationship? Do you believe that validly, or do you kind of like, I don't know if that's true?
Well, that's what is confusing for me because I'm feeling like okay, we are talking about him doing a bunch of business. We are talking about him doing a bunch of things for work, and I was being lenient on him, especially whenever he needs to go travel for his work, and we don't really need to have all the usual or normal talking that we used to do. So I just don't get it. I just don't understand why it needs to be like that. When in fact he's already doing the same thing while he was with me. He's just telling me that he is being held back kind of because I'm always in the back of his mind.
Okay.
So yeah, and that's what he said. So he
What?
said that I should take a step back and just let him be.
Okay, so
And
it just
then
sounds like timing and circumstances. So it's not that he's got to put the money thing first if he's going to take care of you. He doesn't seem interested in doing the visa thing. So don't take that personal because it's certainly something that you probably consider like, oh, I'd come over there and work and we can go through the process. If he was keen on that, he'd be for it. If he's not, it's going to scare him off a little bit because to him, it's more of a commitment. And if you're telling me his eventual goal, which you want, I'm with you, I'm listening. So the other part of that is, if I'm correct, which when you were off, I was saying you want, or excuse me, he wants to eventually run the business so he can live in the Philippines full time or majority of the time.
Yeah.
Okay. So
something like that.
Okay. I got you. So that counters his goal, right? If he's going to get a visa for you to just be there short term, which would take a little bit of work, right? And a little bit of money. I don't know the logistics of it for the Philippines and stuff. I know in Thailand it's not always guaranteed either. So there's part of that where he's saying, well, if we just get another year. The other thing to this, timing and circumstances, he's putting the company and the business first. My other question to you would be, you're in different time zones. How long have you been in long distance?
We've been together for like we're gonna be 2 years this coming like Feb. This
How long
Valentine's
has it been
Day.
long distance though?
So Mr. like more than a year.
Okay. And in that time of being in long distance, what's the parameters been? We talk every day. We talk.
Yeah, we do talk every day. But
You talk.
whenever we're busy and like he's busy, like there are days when we don't really talk because he needs to do that for his job. So
Does that trigger you or upset you, or do you let it be?
no, it doesn't trigger me. I just let it be.
Okay. That, my question is that if he's feeling pressured from that. All right. So what I would say is that the visa thing seems to be the time that he kind of pulled back. Am I correct?
Not really. It's just that when we started this year, that's when his plans, the original plans, kind of changed. Because our original plan is that he was asking me if I want to study there so that I can stay there for a longer time. So he's willing to do all the processes before and pay for everything. But then I told him like, I will be studying here and then probably just gonna go there after I studied here because it's a little bit much cheaper and I want to pay for my own education. So
well, if you only have 1 year left, you want to finish. You don't want to leave it half hanging. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So so I thought the original plan is still ongoing, like me finishing here and then we're gonna do the ending of the long distance. So that's what I was asking him, like, do you want me to like move there or you move here with me? So that's kind of the thing that's pressuring him. And then he just suddenly said that you need to finish what you need to do and then I have to finish what I need to do. So maybe I think he doesn't want to talk anything about the plans. He just wants to finish whatever and see where it goes.
Well, you just got frustrated because you had something in your mind and you feel like he didn't keep his word on your original plan. So a lot of people when they're long distance are sensitive to finish lines, right? So if you had like, well, in April I'm going to move there for school or whatever, right? And then someone goes, well, no, that's not going to work. Especially women, they're like, wait a minute, that's what you told me. And you get frustrated and you get upset, right? And so that's okay. So what I'm saying is, I don't know exactly the reason was for that, but if he's concentrating on a new business this year and he's changed the parameters, what I would say, if you've been going a year where you're talking every day, you seem pretty close. You don't even seem highly emotional about this. This is more of a rational thing for you. It's like, I'm trying to figure this out. It's not like you're heartbroken, right? I'm with you. So I would say that, let me ask you this right now, right here. Thanks for giving me that background. Where are you at right now? Where you guys are you guys literally not talking as much, or you're in no contact, or what? What's your status?
He broke up with me last week, like exactly a week from today. So
Okay.
he we had contact for a little bit because there are things that he asked me to do before we actually broke up, because those things are in line to be sent to him wherever he is. And then that's when we had the contact. But then after a few days, when I'm done with the things, like those are gifts. So those are gifts that he bought from here that I need to send to him. So after that, I
I'm
didn't.
sorry. They're gifts from you, or gifts he bought for you that you're sending him back?
Those are so the thing is, he gave me a gift and he wants the same thing for himself.
Okay.
So he bought all those for me and for him.
Okay.
And then I needed to send the gift to him.
Sure.
And before we broke up, I ordered something. That's the thing that I was selling on the comment earlier. Before we broke up, I actually originally ordered a gift for him to be sent to his house. So I had to contact him for that too. So, but after those communication, I didn't really reply to any of his messages. He was telling me that he was asking me how I am currently, and then when he received the gift that I originally ordered for him, he just said thank you, and he said that he loves me. And then a few days after that, or like a day after that, he messaged me again telling me that he hopes that I had a great weekend. So after I didn't respond to any of it, and I was just very
why didn't you respond?
Because I don't really know what to say. Like it feels like if I say something, it may seem like whatever it is that we're currently on right now is okay, but I don't want to be emotional as well. And I don't want to give him an impression that I'm being cold too, because definitely at the moment we don't want the same thing. So I don't want to say
you're
something.
really rational.
Rational for sure.
Wow, I'm impressed here.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, you're very rational. Incredible. Okay. Usually a lot of women are highly emotional about this. And this is exactly what I was going to ask you, B, is like, so you're in this situation. It seems clear on what you want. So you want more of a commitment to following through with the idea that maybe you're going to go over there.
Well, not really me going over there, but just commitment on the relationship to be like, for us to be still together, even if there are things that we need to do. So that's the only thing that I ask for him, regardless of wherever we're going to end up. The only thing that I'm asking is for him to be committed and to not have whatever gray thing that he wants, like us continuing talking, even if I don't know if he wants to break up or not, because it seems like he's not asking for a full breakup. So
he seems like, so technically he when the breakup went down, he said like, we're not together anymore. Like you feel officially broken up, correct?
That's because he was trying to explain his side, right? When he was trying to explain what he wants the new setup to be, I just said, like, the only way to be with me is to be with me, like to be in a committed relationship. And then he's like, okay, there's no way around this but to break up then. So that's confusing as hell.
I don't think it's confusing, but this is good that we're talking about this now, right? This is helpful. So, and you're divulging a lot of information. That's why it's hard in the comments when people just ask like very broad questions.
One or two things that are
right.
Yeah.
I'm asking questions to help you.
Yeah.
So it sounds like what I'd give you credit for, whether other people agree or not, you know what you want, you know what you're worth, you know what you feel like you deserve. Okay. So you feel like some things have changed, and you've already been if you've been in a long-term 1 year, that's a big commitment. I usually tell people, long distance relationships have a shelf life. In other words, if, the longer they go on, the more fragile they get, because people are like, when are we going to meet up? If you don't have that finish line, like in 6 months or 3 months. So what happened here, it sounds like he's pulled back, feeling like he's pressured and he's not as into it as he was. Cause you got, like you said, you've been talking basically every day. I would guess the way he's reacted, if you go no contact like you are, he's going to initiate and want to, because you didn't really do something wrong, like cheat or, you know what I mean? You haven't done something out of character. He's the one that's kind of feeling like it's too much right now. You're saying it's not true. I would guess, and this is a guess, I'm not Nostradamus, I'm not a psychic, but when you asked about the visa information and stuff like that, he's not on par for like that right now like he was before. So that might have scared him a little bit. That's just a guess. And that's not, from the way you're talking and stuff, you don't seem pushy about it, but I don't think he's ready to do what he said with that. And if his long-term plans to come back there, it's a lot of work to be honest with you, just knowing B lives in Thailand too, and he's American. I'm not saying this guy's from America. We'll just say wherever he's from. And if I had a Thai girlfriend that wanted to go to Thailand, I wouldn't want her to live there for a year or 2 years, because she'll probably want to stay there.
I remember
more work rather than wanting to. This is just my opinion. So this is like a side thing. If I want to go back to Thailand as my long-term thing, I'm just thinking that I'm wondering if that's what he's thinking. If that's his long-term goal to move back to PI, to the Philippines, then why would he bring you over there?
Now I remember why he didn't want me to go there. He was telling me that even if I will be working there, he will be more held back from his job, because he always have to, he needs to think about me. He's going to be leaving me alone at home because he's going to be out on the road for his work. So that's also one of the things that he said. So I was like, okay, but I'm an adult, I can take care of myself. And then
right.
And then he was like, well, you're gonna be new in that country, so I need to at least be thinking about you all the time whenever I'm out on the road. So it feels like,
I'm with you. I mean, it's just, here's the thing, agree to disagree. Like, you're not going to talk him out of that idea, and he's thinking that's true to him. And from the outside in, some people will be like, oh, that's a valid reason. I mean, we could build a case for anything we want to build a case for. So, and you're like, I think I'd be fine. You sound, confident and good. You know what I mean? So,
I believe her.
But on the flip side, maybe what he's saying is genuinely what he feels. That it's going to make him uncomfortable. It's going to affect his job. But that's why I said, for example, if the plan was to live in his country long term, then that would be something you'd have to get over, right?
Yes.
Like, that's something you got to work through. Because, but if his plan is the way our relationship's going to transpire, I'm going to get this business right and get this income right because I really just want to live in the Philippines. Well, then that's different. So that's where I think it's a different perspective. He wants to get to your country, so he feels like if you go over there, it's going to hold him back from saving up the money. Now, whether that's a valid reason for you or not, it's a valid reason for him right now. Right. And so you can accept it or not accept it. You can I wouldn't sit here and go, oh, you need to stand by him. This is your choice, right?
Yes,
I would say that also by being in no contact and respecting that what he told you, and there's no way around this, we just have to break up. Well, in that case, accepting the breakup and saying, well, see what it's like to not talk to me every day or not have me as an option.
That's definitely how.
What?
That's definitely what's driving me to not really respond to him. But like,
I know you're smart. I can tell.
It's
true though. That's what no contact's for. It's not no contact at its best. It's like negotiations are off, right? Like what you told me about him,
Yeah.
I don't think he's a nutcase or a horrible guy, but what you told me on your end, I don't think you're a bad person for thinking that.
They just don't
But-
line up.
But for you know what I'm saying? It's not lining up, so no one's going to meet in the middle right now. So
Mhm.
you got to stop, and now whoever wanted to break up has to sit in the idea. I mean, if he comes back, are you like, then you're gonna have to open up to the idea of maybe me moving over there? I mean, is that what's going to be on the table, or are you going to be open to just going
No.
back to the way things are?
Well, the only thing that I want is to be in the committed relationship, regardless, just like what I said earlier, regardless of wherever we might end up, because he really can't tell me the timeline of his business. That's the thing.
Okay, so that's your
So-
problem. The timeline's the problem. So
Yes,
what happens
definitely.
is, if you come to my channel, that's what I'll be like, let's find out the problem. Because what we do is we get into emotions. You're surprisingly not very emotional about it. You're very rational, which is a compliment. But I'm saying, I'm sure you've had emotional moments about this. But saying that is that's your issue for you. You're a time person.
Yes.
You want to know, you
Yes.
want to plan. Okay.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
I know. I listen well. I've been doing this a long time. So, for example, like me, I'm not a great planner. You know what I mean? So I can drive someone like that nuts too. I've been in this situation on the other end before. So what I'm telling you, knowing this now, if you guys do come back to talk, which I kind of have a feeling or intuition you will, at some point he's like, hey, let's talk. So you go, hey, let's talk about this. Put your cards on the table. Stop playing the bluffing game. Like, oh, I know he
Mhm.
texted me, but I don't want to text back.
Mhm.
Right? Which is okay because you're not
Mhm.
ready. But when you do talk again, which it sounds like you will, say, look, this is my major problem. I want to make sure we're committed. If you don't want to do the visa for me to go over there, that's fine. You've told me your reasons, but I want to make sure we're in a committed relationship, and let's create a new finish line. Like, you're going to be in the Philippines in a year. And if he's like, I can't answer that because of my company, maybe that's a problem for you.
Yes, that's definitely a big problem because I already asked him that. I
Mhm.
already asked him like, oh, okay, what will be the timeline? How sure are you that things are gonna line up? What are the things that you are gonna do for me to be sure that whatever it is that you're telling me right now is gonna happen? So, and then he like, well, I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Who knows?
Is that his voice?
Nice.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like for him, he's overwhelmed.
Right.
And for
Work,
you, you're like,
stuff,
figure it out because you would.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
you're
yes.
more organized, you're more of a planner. Some people like paperwork. I'll be honest with you, myself included. I think B might be like, it's not fun, the idea of trying to sort out the visa or something like that. Now on your end, you're like, I would figure it out. You're like, I would just go to the website, go fill out all the forms, go to the lawyer. Something in this process is scaring him. I don't know what
think
it
so,
is.
too.
I don't know what
think
it
so,
is.
too.
And so you have every right to say, take a step back for no contact right now to figure out if you want to stay in this holding pattern, right?
Mhm.
And maybe give yourself a little bit more time to figure out what you want. Because even if let's just say that he did give you another, I don't know, deadline or finish line is
6
what I like to
months, a
call
year,
it. Yeah,
something
like,
that, yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
in 6 months after I save up, I'll figure out this visa situation. We can get you an education visa. I looked at some schools, right? Would
Mhm.
you believe him?
Yes.
Hesitate.
Has
Yes.
The
yes.
reason I
think-
asked that, the reason
Okay.
I
think
asked
so,
that,
yes.
okay, the reason I asked that is what happens when you're in a long relationship. You start to typecast people. So if they disappoint you, or they do things and your brain's collecting all this data, and you're
Mhm.
like, well, last time he gave me a finish line, he didn't come through. So if you don't believe it, subconsciously you'll sabotage it by, hey, it's been 3 months. Are you on it? Are you on it? And now
Pushing,
he's
pushing.
pressured
Mhm.
and feeling
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, you don't believe me. So that's the problem when someone does something 2 or 3 times that kind of upset you. You kind of carry that in the back of your mind, and now you don't trust their word as well. And
Mhm.
so that's where you're confused right now, I think. You believed him 100% before, but now he's changed the story and the narrative. And now you're like, well, what am I going to believe? Are you going to even be able to do this? So if he steps up and comes back, let's say in 3 weeks or a month, and I'm not saying he is, but I kind of have a feeling if he said I love you and thank you, and you guys have been hot and heavy for a year long distance, that at some point he's going to come back to the table and say, let's talk, or I've missed you. Okay. And then when he does, he, just like you are now, where you stay the course of what you want and what the problem is, instead of getting like, oh, you lied to me or this or that, which sounds like you wouldn't do. And then if he says, I still can't, I just can't commit, I have too much going on with company, you know what? Well, then, like I said, then maybe you have to do this, because long distance after a year, you do need finish lines, or else you start looking around. You start getting approached. If you, I always say that depending on where you live and where you're at in your life, compared to like people will make these generalizations about long distance, right? Like it'll never work. No, it's circumstances. So if you're 25 or 27, you're at the peak of your life and you're really, feel like you're in good shape, good looking, you get approached a lot in the town you're in, it's harder because you have more temptation. If it's, you don't get out a lot and you're really conservative, you're just concentrate on school, it's easier for you to stay in a long distance relationship because it lines up with your life. So that's part of it. If he's on the road a lot right now, I don't know what pertains to this, and the company he's working for or what have you is really busy, well, then he's going to have less time or less ability in his mind to make you first like he used to.
Yes,
and that's your hard part. So
yes, I got that.
When you get back, whenever you do have a conversation with him again, I would say, just like you are now, just explain, not demand. This is what I need. This is what I want. And a lot of times there's something called the nonviolent communication method. And it's just basically observe what happened. So what happened was you told me this and you didn't follow through. You told me about this, visa, and then you said we don't want to do that anymore. Number two, that made me feel confused and uncomfortable about the relationship. Number three is what I need is clearer communication and a clear idea of what we're going to do in the future. So if you want to change that rather than have it in the air. Number four, the request. So it's observe, feelings, need, and request. The request would be, please, and this is for you, please come up with some kind of plan.
Correct?
Yes, that's funny. Because when I asked him about that plan, he was like, "Who knows? Like, who knows what's gonna happen? How sure are you gonna be?" And well, I'll tell you what my profession is. I'm a social worker, and then
Right.
And then I was telling him like, well, he said like, how do people know? And then I said, well, people test things, people write things, and people do this. So I was like, I think maybe I'm more organized, and like I just want to know the direction, because I was telling him that there's more work for me to do for us to reach the goal, but he's still telling me that he still sees a future with me, and he's sure of that. But this thing that we have right now is the thing that we have to go through.
Well, it sounds like like I said, it's called nonviolent communication method. So you can Google it, but the base of it is what I just told you: observe, feeling, need, request. You can use this for social work too, probably. So it just cleans up your thought, because you like organization. Observe means no feelings, and then the feeling, like need, request. So what I was saying about that is that you even are anticipating that you guys are going to talk again at some point, it sounds like. So you know him better than I do. Because there's sometimes when people go no contact, they're like, they'll never call me again. That's how they are. You don't feel that. So when you have the next conversation, just be clear. And if he feels like, oh, you're being pushy, look, this is how I am. I need some kind of, I know a couple women like this that you're talking about. It's just, if you're late for an appointment or you don't have your plan right, they're thrown off, right? Like it's just your style, right? And so you probably really help him if he's a little less organized, and that's why you're maybe you link up better. So that's how you want to go about that. Does that help you?
Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Do you have any closing questions?
Okay, so my closing question is, after explaining all those things, I just want to know, how long do I keep the no communication or no contact, and how do I approach him? Because I'm pretty sure after all the messages he sent me, he's gonna be waiting for me to reach
You
out
said he
after
sent you
that.
2 messages. There's been more than 2?
There are like the how are you, the I love you, and like I hope you had a great weekend. So those are like just 3. And like 2
You-
contacts initiated by me just because of the gifts that he asked
to
me to
confirm
buy.
that he got them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've kept it neutral. So,
Hmm.
all right, so this is the best question I can ask you is, for you, rather than me assume, when you don't answer these texts that he's sending you, what's your intention?
Well, my intention is that, well, I can't really answer the intention, but the only reason why I'm doing that is because I feel like I don't want to say something that might probably hurt whatever fragile situation we're in right now. So,
You mean something emotional or something hurtful?
or something stupid that
Yeah.
might throw off everything. Because I feel like if I start talking to him about nonsense or like things like nothing happened, think I don't really know.
Here's here. If you think the feed went a little slow, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Okay, it's just the
Yeah.
internet. What I would say about that is that if he's been reaching out post breakup and you feel like he broke up with you, at some point you have to respond to that. Okay, so like he's not going to get down on his hands and knees and like beg you back. If that's what you were looking for, it's possible. And then you look at it like, I'll get my way. I think you're not that. It just doesn't sound like that's your style. So don't go that route. I would say the next time he contacts you or when you feel comfortable, say, hey, we need to talk. Because it sounds like you don't want to break up. So,
okay, yeah.
So I would say, and then just state, this is what I've been thinking. Like what we talked about here on the show, and go through it again and go, this is what I'm uncomfortable with. But I'm not. And if he comes back with like, oh, we can just stay friends, and you're not comfortable with that, well, and say like, that's just not on the table. And then you can revisit it one more time that way because he's been making an effort to say I love you and thank you and how are you. And the other route, I always like to give people 2 options because I believe in free will and free choice. You got to figure it out for yourself. So then the one thing is you can reach out to him because he's contacted you. He's not being a dick. Excuse me. You know what I mean? He's being pretty cordial. So he's not calling you names or talking bad about you.
Yeah.
You could be like, hey, look, let's talk. When are you available to have a Zoom or whatever you guys do, FaceTime? And then you can air out the things we talked about. Number 2, you can wait till the next time he contacts you and then say, okay, let's talk. Because maybe the next time he might ask you. If you're waiting for him to ask you or to get more, in my experience, when I talk to women, they kind of like, they want the guy to suffer a little bit.
Oh, no, I'm not that kind of person.
Right. Good. You're a social worker, right? It's not your identity. So I'm saying that at some point you need to have one more talk and state what you want, which you know.
To just wrap it up.
And then if it doesn't go right again and he's kind of vague and stuff like that, say, look, I can't do this vague thing. I can't do this thing where I'm not trying to be pushy, but I'm a planner. This is who I am. So you got to meet me halfway on the bridge. In other words, it can't just be like, I don't know. I don't have time. It's got to be like, well, when I get done with the master's degree, I would like you to at least come and visit. Or, you know what I mean? Have something.
Yes,
He needs to know what you want and then restate it. And then if he reiterates that that's not going to be okay, then you can go into no contact again and start your process.
Yeah. So, yeah, because I really wanted to like end everything and send him everything, because that's also one of the things that I was thinking about. Like maybe he's just messaging me because I still have his things. Like he left a bunch of things here and like the gifts. So maybe he's just asking me for those.
Well, no, I mean, if you do social work, you should be able to read people pretty well. You get a master's degree. You're no idiot. You know he loves you
Yeah.
and cares about you,
Yeah.
right? I hope.
Yeah,
I hope.
and
Some people don't read people well. I mean,
Mhm.
but
yeah.
I think he's sincere in that. I think he's probably frustrated. Like when you live in another country, it's you know what I
Mhm.
mean. And like I said, from my experience as a guy, I know some other guys the same way. Like thinking about the paperwork and the ordeal of a visa can be overwhelming. Someone
Yeah.
like you's like, I could do it. You know what I mean? Like you'd spend 3 hours on the computer figuring out the things to do.
Yeah.
And for him, he's like, I don't have time. I don't even know where to
I can't
start.
do this. Yeah.
They're going to charge me a lot of money. And you're like, what? So he needs to clarify why he doesn't want to do it. Or maybe he's embarrassed. Like, it's just too expensive for me right now. I don't know. But
Probably.
if that's the case, is that a good enough reason for you to give him a break on it? If it's not, then you don't want to be in a relationship where you're badgering or being pushy, because that doesn't work. There's something called power versus force. It's like the minute you try to force people to do something when they're adults or push them,
Yes.
you
Yes.
just don't like it. So
Yeah.
doesn't mean you need to be nice, but I think you guys can have another talk.
Yeah.
If whether you want to wait for him to text you one more time or you
Mhm.
want to initiate it yourself, I think that's fine.
Mhm.
But I don't think you need to play too much of a game of no contact for a long time, because if he reiterates, I want to be friends and I need this time alone, you go, okay, now it's crystal clear. I am going to not contact you. If you need anything else from me, from our stuff or gifts, I'm happy to send those to you. Like, that's fine. Start the process. And don't be surprised, like in 6 months or 3 months or 2 months, that he calls you, because if you guys been together this long, he might just need time to miss you and come to his senses. Like, do I want to lose this woman over the fact that I'm overwhelmed of a visa? Like, it might kick him in the ass. Like, okay, I'll figure this out. Okay.
Mhm.
So I think that those are the things, and just surrender to the idea that you're doing the best you can. He's doing the best he can. It sounds like, and if it doesn't work out, you're going to be okay. Sounds like you got a lot going for you. So you got a master's, you got a career. This isn't like you're not like, I have to make it over there. We have to.
No, definitely not.
I can just tell in your tone, because I've had other people that are like, oh my God, you're
desperate.
Yeah. So I think that you're in a good position, and you're totally okay to initiate, hey, I want to talk. Because he's had some nights to not talk to you. It's been a few days.
Yeah.
If you want to let him suffer a little longer, you can. But him saying, how are you? I love you. I thank you, is him kind of like extending that. But if you said, hey, look, if you want to send me these kind of texts, I'm open to revisiting being back together exclusively, but I don't want to just be friends. And good for you realizing that. You're a commitment person, and you know that. So.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, I hope that helps you, and thanks for coming on the live stream and sharing. And I wish you all the best. And if you need further help and you want to book a live coaching session, you can email me, or you can use the website rightback.com. Okay.
All right. Thank you. That
All the
helped
best.
a lot.
No worries.
Good luck, B.
Bye-bye. Who's next? All right. All right. Nonviolent communication method is really good. Observe, feeling, need, request. It's a really good one to come back to. And it's not always working if the other person doesn't understand how you're doing it. So if you have a person that's highly emotional or combative, they might be like, what are you doing? This is what I've observed. This is what I'm feeling. This is my need. This is my request. What it does for you is it helps you organize your thoughts. So if I got a problem with B, I can observe the problem. Hey, you did this. Hey, I'm feeling this. I need you to do this. I'm requesting you to do this. I need this, and I request this. Now the person can go, I don't care about what you're requesting. But at least you have an organized thought. Because what most people do where it goes wrong, feeling. And then the person's like, why are you so upset? That's what people usually do when someone goes crazy or they're upset. Why are you so upset? And it's like, when you observe the situation that happened,
instead of just letting it free flow, just letting it go.
Right?
Yeah.
You hit my car. So this morning when you hit my car, right? And damaged the car, that's the observation. The feeling is I was scared and I'm upset because I want money for it. The need would be, we need the insurance agency. The request is, let's call them. So like it's like that with relationships too. But be very rational and calm about the situation, seems like. And that's a type of person. When you're with someone that's a planner, that's organized, and they tend to be with people that aren't like that, because if you were both planners and organizers, who's going to do the planning and organizing? You guys are going to get in fights all the time, right? So you serve a really good purpose, but you get frustrated when the other person needs to step up and be that way, that you're like, what's going on here? Why can't you do it? So it kind of makes sense when you take a step back and go, he's not that kind of person. So I can't get him to go full, but maybe he can meet me halfway and we can work through this. If not, maybe you're just not a good match.
Give me some timeline, you know.
Timelines are important in long distance. They're very
yeah.
important. It's and then when they get broken, so like you're looking forward to something, it literally drops the long distance relationship down 2 or 3 notches, because now you don't trust each other.
Sure.
The other person feels bad. If you really believe the circumstances, then fine. But in my experience, like if you go long distance 2 years and you're not seeing each other once a month, it gets really difficult. If you were able to see each other once a month and have intimacy, then probably he would get that visa done. He told me to move on. Margaret Shanifi Snock. Is that your real name? Margaret Shanifi Snock. What nationality is that? I'm just curious. He told me to move on. He also told me he will always... You're welcome, B. You're welcome. He told me to move on. He also told me he will always have a special place in his heart for me. Okay, well, that's kind words on the way out. I mean, some people hate that. They're upset about that. Maybe he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
And when someone needs to move on, sometimes it's just timing and circumstance is a big one, right? Because that has to do with jobs, financials, and people don't like that because love should prevail, but sometimes it doesn't. How's love going to prevail if you're broke? How's love going to prevail if you guys hate each other's parents? That happens. I don't know how many Indian clients I've had where one person's Indian and the other person's, I've had a Filipino or a Caucasian, white, whatever, right? And the Indian parents are like, no, you can't marry that person. And then there's this big dilemma. They call in, they do a coaching session. It's like, it's pretty hard to overcome if you're close to your parents.
Right.
And then the person feels like, I can't go against my parents. You can, you don't want to, and that's tough.
Right.
So Margaret, I would need to know the circumstances. He also told me he will regret this decision for the rest of his life. Well, I would need to know why he's doing it then. That sounds like a martyr. I mean, what are the circumstances of why he wants to break up? And do you want to come on the show? I'll give you the link. I'm trying to be really more rational on things. I already cried the first day, and okay, here's the one thing I did. I hope it will help other people. I wrote the pros and cons of our relationship. That's good, huh? Yeah. That's good. Just remember, you're doing the best you can be. It sounds like what you came up with wasn't irrational. What he came up with wasn't crazy. When I presented you with the idea that people don't get excited about doing visa work and there's a possibility of being denied. So to me, what stood out that you're not looking at is he wants to get back there.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't want to cement things. But like you said, he already said that he would.
So he broke that.
Yeah. We have 15 on deck. Feel free to drop a super chat. If anyone else wants to unpack their breakup, I got about 5 or 10 minutes, actually. He broke up with me because he said he can't overcome his curiosity and his mad intuitions. Like, what does that ever mean? Well, I mean, that's curiosity would tell me maybe temptation, or mad intuitions would mean he doesn't trust you. Is he a jealous type that's always thinking that you're cheating? So if he's telling me that he's overcome his curiosity and mad intuitions, I mean, you know him better than I do, right? So I would need to know the situation to reply to that. Absolutely, B. Absolutely. You're doing good work out there too. I'm proud of you that you're a social worker and you're a light worker. You're a
100%.
helper. Feel free to check out
We just did a light worker
meditation.
meditation.
Clean Mind Today is another YouTube channel that I have that has guided meditations, help you through breakups, help you through a tough time, or just when your expectations are too high. We have a couple good ones on there. I actually should I'll send a link to it. Hold on here. Here. You see these YouTube handles now. They're kind of funny. They just made them up. 9109 clean 09. All right. Yeah, that's the link to my other YouTube channel, Clean Mind Today. There's a lot of good guided meditations on there. You might like that, B. And if you want to, like I said, if you want to do a live coaching session, I do guided meditation with hypnosis. Well, I mean, am I correct then, what I just said, that it's probably jealousy, overcoming his curiosity and mad intuitions? He's creating situations. So the worst relationship, one of the worst situations to be in is being accused of things you didn't do.
Right. You're sitting there thinking, I didn't do any of those
It's
things
like,
you're saying.
I didn't cheat.
I didn't.
Oh, I saw you look at a picture on Instagram. I looked at a picture on Instagram. Or, yeah, I texted my ex happy birthday. Or, yeah, I did something like that. I didn't cheat. I don't have a relationship with them. Ask questions. Like going 0 to 100 on, I know you're talking to someone else.
It's tough.
You're basically punching someone in the mouth, and they're like, stop. And then they can't understand, like, I'm telling you the truth. What they're doing is they have a subconscious belief that all women cheat because their mom cheated or their ex cheated. A lot of what people have problems with is that something happened to them before, and now they think it's a rule, right? So, and they have some insecurity about it. Instead of just asking the direct question, did you call this person? So it sounds like if you're dealing with someone that's jealous like that, they need to take a step back and figure out why they're jealous. I've had clients before that were men that were like, yeah, I'm jealous. That's just how I am. Do you want to work on that? Or do you just want to think that you were born that way, that you're jealous of girlfriends? Because you can work on that. You have to figure out where the roots are. And then you got to pull them, do some hypnotherapy or EFT, which is some things I do. Get a coaching session, work it out. But don't accept like, oh, I'm just jealous. That's how I am. You don't have to be that way, because it's just going to sabotage most of your relationships. Anyone else have some closing questions? I got about 10 minutes. Drop the link. Petty Betty's been riding all the way through. I lost some people through there. Oh, isn't it funny how when you're in the live stream, you guys don't realize it. It always shows me how many people are on deck, and you're always cognizant. Oh, some people fell off. Who's on deck? Does everyone like talking about bad dates today? Some spirited stories here. Be like those ones, huh?
Yeah.
It's crazy how a bad date story 2 or 3 years later becomes funny.
Funny. Yeah.
But 2 or 3 days later, you're like, God, that was horrible. Oh my God. It's like 2 years from now, it'll be a great story, my friend. And you'll look back on it and it'll be timeless. I am broken up for real now. We'll explain on another stream. Absolutely.
Definitely. Come on.
I had a bad date in Vietnam. That's an interesting title.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Vietnam. I've heard good things about it.
I've been.
If you want to send your story into writemac.com to send in the bad date, like a paragraph or something like that to share with everyone, that'd be cool. Bad dates are funny, man.
Like you said, give it some time.
They
become funny.
I don't have time today for Parisa, even though I can make time in the future. Just so you guys will be aware, this guy, we went out for one night, and the next day he was yelling at me.
Telling me he's my boyfriend already?
I mean, did you?
Well, I mean, one day. I mean, come on, can't be.
What happened in that one night?
But even so, I mean,
I'm saying even
Yeah.
so, but I'm saying like, what
Yeah.
made him lead him to think that you guys did you guys even?
I mean, even if they hooked up or whatever, like there's just one night, it's not gonna be.
Yeah, there's some men out there and women
Mm.
that are extremely controlling and extremely insecure, and it's just built in. Oh my God.
Just seatmates.
Well, that's a situation where someone got the wrong impression.
Or the wrong seat.
Someone got the wrong impression.
Mm.
That's funny.
Okay, 6 hours. So it was a good bus ride.
I've had a few bus trips out here in Thailand where I had to sit by someone. I always make friends easy. By the end of it, B knows me. I make friends with everything. They're like, come over for a barbecue. It could be some guy that's like 65, 53, whatever.
I'm putting
Tell
my
me their
headphones.
whole life story. It's like, mate, we gotta hang out sometime.
I'm putting my headphones in.
Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Nah, man. I make friends everywhere.
Let me just chill.
On the planes. It's just built in. It's just how I am. You know how I am too.
100.
Publicly. Oh my God, I was so scared. He was telling people in the hotel I was staying at.
God. Yeah, that's a little much. That's a little much.
There's people like that.
Just be like, I just met him yesterday on the bus.
Well, just be thankful you didn't end up putting yourself in a bad situation with someone like that. But geez, man, that's what's hard. I think for women, if you're in another country or traveling alone, you got to be careful, man. I mean, I don't mean to scare people, but like, there's
guys
we
too.
were actually,
I mean, if you're alone, you're a guy or a girl.
We were actually staying in the same hotel in different rooms, and I asked him if he wanted to join the trip because we need joiners. He stole my security deposit. He stole my towel.
God. He took the towel and first aid kit.
From your room? So he was in your room. I was so scared he was telling people. That reminds me of a story I have, but I'm not going to share it today. I'll get it for another one. It's probably one of the best ones I've ever had. It reminds me. Sometimes we, like, that just goes on people that make assumptions, man. But he sounds mentally ill during the trip.
Yeah.
It's my bag because it was oh God. It's a sign of people being massively immature is getting to a certain age where you still steal. Steal someone's like take things from people or something. Or when they break up, they're like, you can just keep everything you ever gave me. You can keep everything you ever, like the t-shirt you bought me. That's massively immature. That's like a big sign of someone's character. It's like, okay, oh, I want back the necklace that I bought you. It's like, all right, I've heard those stories before.
What are you gonna do with it?
I want the ring back. It's like,
it
was so scary. He's also a famous traveler that puts blogs online.
Oh, whoa!
I've met those over here before.
The blogger type. Yeah.
Some people like living abroad. Some people that are world travelers that I've seen that have blogs or some of these things. I've known a few that lived in the area. Their life is not that interesting.
Well, that's the whole thing when people talk about like Instagram and stuff like that.
I'm just saying I've known a couple. I don't know them all, but their presentation of like having a great time in Thailand and like doing all these cool things. I've had a beer a few times or been around them or known mutual friends. Some of them, not all. It's a limited sample size, so it's a few. So right, they're not rolling around the world just like happy,
living it up.
Yeah,
crazy,
happy as can be. That's all I'm saying.
Can be a little misleading sometimes. Oh yeah, change hotels for sure.
He threatened the staff in the hotel and told them. I mean, in a situation like that, I know it's different in different places, but I would definitely go to the police. You got to. He was just asking me if I wanted to join the other trip he was planning. My girlfriend.
Oh my God. He might have been on something.
Mortified.
God.
No wonder you don't want to be single again, huh?
You're like, I found a good one.
That's another, like, so, yeah, it's like,
Mhm.
wow, that can put things in perspective.
Mhm. The fact that he's a famous blogger or vlogger.
Is it late to jump on a call or wait for the next stream? Do you normally take live calls when you're streaming?
Yeah, all the time now. So
What do you want to talk about, Mr. Slamming? Mr. Slamming, are you a client of mine from the past? I'm trying to think of who Mr. Slamming is. What did you want to talk about, Mr. Slamming? I'm got an appointment in a little bit, but
we should be on tomorrow, right?
the great Aleph going to be here pretty soon. That's why. He said he'll be at the gate at 2. So you can let him in.
Mm-hmm.
I can probably talk to you for about 10 minutes, Mr. Slam, if you got like a question or situationship. Jeez, she's going on about. But now here's the crazy thing. B, horrible situation, you got out of it. Now it's a good story to tell. You know what I mean? It's over. You know? That's why I wouldn't travel to those places alone. Like women should have a friend or something. It's a little more dangerous for you. You're going to let Mr. Slamming on and not me? You've been on like 3 times. I'm happy. You need a scenario.
Yeah, we need to talk about.
Yeah, I need a scenario problem. Drop the link.
We're more than happy to talk to you. It's just, we want some content.
What we could do when I start getting a regular schedule, we can have Petty Betty Day. Sponsored by Petty Betty. That's just crazy. There's some crazy situations out there.
There's just, yeah.
I'm thankful for the relationships I've had. People have asked me before, oh, you never want to get married? You're never going to get married? It's like, I've never been married, but I've had very good girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
Like
mm-hmm.
It's ended in different ways, or you've had a few bad months or some bad moments, but I haven't had some 5-year train wreck relationship. No. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for having a few more honeymoon phases than the average bear. That's the best part, right? It's all good till it ends.
Mm-hmm.
I have a good and bad date I can talk about. I'll tell you what might be better. I'll come back on in an hour. I never do this, but I don't know if you guys will all be here. Maybe I'll come back on in an hour. We'll see how good the stream goes. Mr. Slamming, I am starting to take live calls now, so that's something I've been doing.
Yeah.
You just have to be aware you're live, because me and B talked about this before, that I've gotten emails in the morning that are begging me to take it down. So anyone that comes on here, I'll never attempt to make you look back. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's due tomorrow.
Yeah, I thought it was Mr. Okay. Do you want to talk about your update, or you would rather do it in private? All right, Mr. Slam, and you don't have to show your face, so you can give me an update. All right. I think I know who this is. I won't say your name because I get confused, but I'll know when I hear the voice. There's a link, so you can pop on, and then if Aleph comes, if you don't mind opening
I will go
open the gate for him and
Aleph.
just have him chill for a minute.
Yeah.
Who else does an unorganized live stream like this? B's the organized planner. You see this? I'm just having conversations. I'm trying to oh yeah, that's why this one doesn't get a 10. You know what I mean? Jeez. No, it's for Mr. Slamming. There's a There's a two. You only get 2 a month. You've gotten 2 in January, so starting in February, you can get 2 more, Petty Betty. You know why I have to do this, and this isn't personal, because I appreciate you 100%. It's definitely not personal. It's just that I want to open up the doors for other people. Otherwise, it's just going to become a Petty Betty show. There he is, right on time.
New channel. Oh, is he there? Is he here?
Just tell him to go open the gate. I think that's him.
Yeah, open the gate.
That one's for Mr. Slamming. I don't know why it hasn't been worked on. Just go open the gate for him. Hop on. If you don't want to share, let me know. Otherwise, we can move on from this. No. Let me just go here. If any of you want to check out the website, book a session, or check out some things on hypnotherapy, there's my link. Someone yesterday that comes on the live stream all the time is like, oh, I never went there. So go ahead and check it out. All right, Slamming. You there? Can you hear me?
Hey, Mac.
How you doing, bud?
Good. How are you?
Good.
You know who this is?
Yes, I do. I have someone with a similar name, so I get confused that comes on the live stream. So I wasn't sure which one it was, but now I know. Absolutely. So go ahead and share or let me know what's going on.
Let's see. So, an update. I did hear back from her.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised either. I was out with a buddy at a bar drinking, just catching up, and she sent me a text message out of the blue, seeing what I was doing, and if I was available to pick up my stuff from her house. And I told her, yeah, tonight wasn't a good night. I was out with some friends, but if you're free, you're more welcome to come join us. And after her hesitation, because she had other plans, she decided to say yes, and she had met up with me. So I thought that was pretty cool. But when she showed up, though, she was very anti. Didn't really want to sit next to me or around my friends. She was very guarded, very cold fish.
Let's just put it in perspective. How many drinks did you have?
Me? Maybe just 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she might have been just thrown off by the fact that you had multiple buds and you were drinking, and she was solo.
She was solo, yeah. She was supposed to bring a friend.
But the fact that she came out,
yeah,
means something. You know what I mean? And I love how you pivoted on that, because a lot of, just to put some context, I won't go into over details of what we talked about, but basically he had a situation where he was dating. They weren't together officially, and some things transpired, and she stopped wanting to date him, and things were going pretty well from what you told me, but there was a few kind of weird situations there,
right?
But she abruptly cut it at a point that was surprising, which happens sometimes, but it was early in the dating. You guys had been dating.
It was, yeah,
maybe under 2 months or under a month, right?
Right. It was like a month and a half. Yeah.
Right. So when she did that, you were kind of like surprised, but she's pretty tough, independent type, and kind of has an attitude anyways, dare I say.
Yeah.
So the way she was acting at this particular spot sounds like that's her personality, that she kind of has her guard up overall. Right. Just being in the situation. Just the fact that she agreed to go there means there's some interest.
Right. I had to pull it out though, my hat, because she kept saying no, yeah, maybe, I don't know. I was like, just take it or leave it. If you want to, come. If not, it's all good. And she showed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. sometimes with people like that, men or women, that are like, oh, you need to get your stuff, as long as it's not sassy or, get your shit, it's on the porch.
No,
It's
yeah,
like, it is a reach sometimes. You know
right,
what I mean? Because
right. Like,
I
did you
don't think you
really
guys
need?
were together a long time and you didn't have a bunch of stuff there. So
No, no. It was just like a tie here and a shirt there, and that was it. So
yeah. So
yeah,
that was a reach that you
but
handled that well too, because you're still interested in seeing it. So inviting her out rather than trying to play, oh, I'll pick it up tomorrow. It's like, cool. So
yeah,
what transpired after that? Did you guys talk or anything?
yeah. So we stayed there till like 2 a.m. She actually had some drinks. Started a
Mm.
little bit, open up a little bit, and then I had a few more drinks. Again, she was being antisocial. Um, Whenever I stepped away from the table, my friends who I was with would tell me like, "Hey, she's flirting with some guys. Why is she here if she's flirting with some guys?" And I'm just rolling my eyes. I'm like, whatever. I really, it's whatever to me. I'm not gonna show jealousy in front of my friends. This is a bar I normally go to, so I'm not gonna act the fool in front of everyone. Um, and she was having like a political debate with my friends, and so it kind of got heated. Uh, so yeah, the
A red
night didn't really turn out what I was hoping for. So 2 a.m. I walked into her car. I was like, "Hey, while I'm here, did you ever bring up my stuff?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "All right, well, I live 5 minutes away. You're more welcome to stop by and spend the night if you feel like you can't drive back home," because she had a few more to
She said
drink.
that to you?
I said it to her. I offered it to her because she had a few drinks.
Oh.
And she lives pretty far, like at least 30-minute drive for where I was
Okay,
at.
so it was in context of the
Yeah,
situation. I got you. I got
right,
you. It
right, right. And she's like,
wasn't a
"No,
reach.
I think it's a
It
bad
was
idea."
sincere.
Yeah, it's like, "No, I think it's a bad idea. I still want some separation." I'm like, "All right, well, have a good night and hit me up later." And that was the last time I talked to her.
Mm. Well, you
Yeah,
handled that situation well, because even if she was talking to some other dudes, she's not your girlfriend.
exactly.
So even if your buddies are giving you shit about that, it's not
Yeah,
your prerogative, dude.
it's
It's like,
not.
she's telling you who she is, though. I mean, not all girls would do that.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
some would be like, if I'm going to visit someone, even if I find some other guy cute or whatever, I'm not going to do that. So that just tells you a little bit about her. The fact that she's had a few too many or drank, it seems like drinking's a part of what it takes to loosen her up, which I don't know if that's a good thing.
Correct.
Long term, where it might be good when you go on dates. Because I've been in this situation myself, where I've dated a woman that, oh, cool, like, you can drink, like, let's have fun, but then it becomes like the theme, and then you realize, oh, you drink a lot, like, this is what it takes for you to have fun, or to like loosen up. So that's not the greatest of things too. The fact that you're going to get your stuff back and stuff like that, but maybe it kind of affirms that she's not a great match for you.
Yeah, I think ever since that evening, my eyes opened up a little bit. I was like, "Yeah, this is not gonna work." So
But the way you handled it, though, like, to invite her out after that, you could have easily went in another direction and said, oh, I'll just get it tomorrow, or this or that. Like, inviting her over and seeing what it's like.
yeah,
I mean, she still has some kind of interest to do that, to show up there, right?
she did. Yeah,
And then she didn't, when you invited her to come stay over, she didn't blatantly just go, you're crazy, or I would never. It was more, she thought about it.
she did. Yeah,
Yeah.
she did. And then a few days later, remember I told you I met her through like family friends, right? So
Sure.
the circle that I had. So she apparently told some of my friends that like who I was hanging out with are bad people, and I should not hang out with them, etc., etc. So she was just talking badly of my friends who I was hanging out with that evening.
And you don't feel that way about your friends?
No, not at all. Like, I know who I keep company, and
You know what I mean? Like, you
yeah,
could be honest with yourself and you're like, yeah, my buddy Dan's kind of a jerk or something like that. I
yeah,
have a mixed bag of friends.
and
Sometimes I can see where
I,
people are coming from.
and I think it stems from the whole political debate that they were having.
Was the political debate on, were you on her side or the other person's side?
I just
Quiet.
sat there and I just watched.
But deep down, Who did you think? What?
I'm leaning towards my friend.
I'm just curious because
Yeah.
that would be something that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be the same way. Just stay neutral because my thing is with those things, if it doesn't mean that much to me, I don't want to engage.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good with words. I can make a case for most things, but like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to rile someone up just for sport.
Right.
I used to when I was younger, but you know, it's like maybe that's another sign too, right? That she's going out there to. It sounds like she's one of those types that she's successful. She's done well for herself. She's got a lot to be proud of, but she also kind of, they call it self-righteous or superior.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like looking down on some people like that you would say like they're not that bad. You just think you're above them.
Exactly.
That's actually, for me personally, a big turn off.
Yeah, that was a big turn off. And then, you know, I didn't hear from her for a while, and then my cousin reached out to me a couple of days ago saying, "Hey, I'm going to the beach." I was like, good. And I would invite you, but she's coming. Okay. Why'd you call me again? And I was like, I'm sorry, man. You know, I just want to let you know in case you see me on Instagram, you know.
That's kind of cool, your cousin, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that in this day and age with Instagram and how people interpret things and stuff, like that's your cousin, like making sure he gets out in front of that. That's a weird thing, but
it was awkward.
It's actually caring on your cousin's point of view, like thoughtful, like, hey, I don't want you to get the wrong idea that I'm taking sides here, or
right.
And if it's his lady's friend, you know what I mean?
Right,
he's just letting you know out front. That's actually smart as a family member.
Because she's friends with the wife, so
right. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, and that kind of gives you that point where we're not trying to get you guys together anymore. So it's time to move on. But don't be surprised if you guys run into each other again or something. But I would say, from my opinion, you handle it very well. Like no bitterness, nothing like that. And that's the thing. Like when you handle things well like that, when a woman's lonely or they're thinking about their options, that's when you'll get another call like, "Oh, I think you did leave another tie over at my house."
Yeah, which I still haven't received my stuff, but if I had to bet, I think she may bring it to the beach trip and just give it to my cousin.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And you're feeling better about it now?
Yeah, after a few more weeks of just hanging back and meeting some friends, I've kind of just moved on. I've closed the book on that. Yeah.
It's good, man. It's like I said, that last interaction, if you look at it overall, it's kind of like, oh, maybe I dodged a bullet here.
Right. I thought so. I think so.
I don't like being in situations where like, oh, you don't like my friends. Oh, you have a political issue. Oh, it takes you 2 or 3 drinks to loosen up. Like those are 3 things right off the bat there that, if that's habitual,
right,
no bueno. That's not good, man. That's one of those things like 6 months, a year down the road, you're like, oh, I don't want to bring her to this event because she's going to get drunk and bring up political shit.
Yeah, no, that's and then I got nervous, but it was just like, let's go.
And it's different when your feelings are involved. You've had some good intimacy because you're like, it's all right, we'll make it work, we'll make it happen. Then you're like, fuck, now we gotta go to this event. I don't want it to be like this. Oh, yeah. I gotta call my friend and tell him not to come. So you're back on deck, you're back out in the fold, and I'm happy that the way you handled that, dude. That's cool that you, like I said, a lot of guys would, if someone said they had their stuff and it ended kind of bad, they would have some kind of negative response rather than, hey, do you want to meet me at the bar?
Yeah, no, I mean, I never had any hard feelings, but at the end of the day, I mean, I have shirts, I have ties in my closet. It's not like
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'd be the same way. I'd be like, I wasn't worried about it. Yeah,
right.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
You really reached out to me just for my tie, or did you miss me? You get what I'm saying? So it's like, really?
You handled it well, though. Like, you didn't say that.
No.
You just were like, hey, do you want to meet up?
Yeah.
We're out right now, right? So, and some of the other things that you noticed before kind of blatantly showed again. And it just, from my point of view, just in what you told me about her, she seems like she's got a lot of external things going for her, like materialistic things, you know, like a nice car. I don't remember you saying the car or anything, but like a nice job and those things. But internally, she's a little bit more messy. And that's why she's, do you know what I'm saying? And so what people tend to do is actually when they're messed up inside, tend to focus on the external stuff that shows people that, oh, I'm doing well. You know, I'm fine. I do well for myself. And these are the people that are kind of standoffish and want to prove how smart they are, or how good they're doing, but really they probably need to make an appointment with me. You know, it's
Yeah.
like,
You know, I look back at it now. It's like externally she's doing great, but internally now I kind of see through the like my eyes were like so hypnotized with her beauty. Now I'm passing through that. I just see that she's so messy inside.
and that's totally fine, man.
Yeah,
Attraction's attraction. Oh
right.
man, I mean, women are the same way. They can be attracted too, and like it's a good, interesting way to look at it too, because you know in your own life, and I know in my own life, internally I've been messed up or off too,
Right.
and that's why you booked an appointment with me when you're off or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I do the hypnosis. You've done it once before because it's all internal.
Right.
So it's like not, you have no distractions, and it's a deep experience so
Mhm.
that you can get in there. Because when people are, I've found that when they have a lot of nice stuff and they're
Mhm.
showy about it, it's like
She is showy.
it's like cool. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, cool, like nice car or something like that. I'm not, and they'll be like shocked that you're not that impressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but inside I feel like I'm happy. I'm in a good place, or I'm content, or you know, that's, cars aren't my thing, but really they really want to make a big deal because inside they're insecure.
Mhm.
They're upset. They're not happy, and she's got some things to work on, and you're not going to be the one to do it.
No, it's not my
So
job.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like I said, maybe this one, call it fool's gold.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it was basically. So
Well, good, man. Thanks for sharing. I hope you're doing well, and thanks for dropping on the live stream and sharing this. And you need to book an appointment in the future, let me know, bro.
we'll do, bro.
All right, take care.
You too.
All right. So if anyone's curious about some of the things I do in a live coaching session, it varies. It varies. And just like I talked to Mr. Slamming, I won't say the name, it usually the long-term relationship as a client, it's like a friend over time, a caring friend who has good insight of what I've been told. So if any of you want to book a session, go for it. Rightmac.com. I've been told I need to plug it a little bit more by some of my clients. All right, folks, it's been good. It's been grand. It's 2 hours 22. That must be something lucky. Petty Betty adds up to 6. I don't know. Brian Union, I hope you're good. You're back in the dating game. Petty Betty, it's always a pleasure. I do appreciate you. Tomorrow's a new month, so we'll have 2 opportunities within the next month for you to hop on. Mr. Slamming, thanks for jumping on. B, it was really nice of you to share your story also. Be brave about that. And even your bad date in Vietnam, as random as it was. And like I said, that's exactly what I'm talking about, is that looking back at bad dates, they can be funny, and then you can learn from them. Right. And Parisa, okay, well, definitely get something going in the future here. I know you've been asking. Margaret Shanifi Snock, if I said that correctly. Thanks. If anyone noticed, I also put a link to Clean Mind Today on YouTube channel. This is my YouTube channel where I have some guided meditations. If you're curious about hypnosis or guided meditations, which is very much the same thing, I have some recordings on there that will help you through a breakup. I have some other ones that are just to help you through some issues. I really believe in guided meditation. So please have a look at that if you have time. Justin Brown, if you're still on deck, thanks for always showing up, bud. I appreciate you. Ryan Flint, have a good day. You are appreciated. And please put in the comments if you have any topics or things you guys want to talk about. And remember, we're going to do bad dates as a storyline to be shared. Happy birthday. My birthday's tomorrow, actually, in Thailand. But thank you for the early one, Petty Betty. Be easy. Right on, Skinner. I appreciate you, bud. All right, folks. Take care. Like I said, check out Clean Mind Today if you like. Go to my website, rightmac.com. smash the like button, smash the subscribe button if you want, or if you don't want, up to you. Otherwise, keep showing up. It's curtains.